Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How much the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, Bitcoin, bing-bonging back to the value area high of our range and getting a little bit of a pop to the upside, hitting about $120,370, and now we are getting a little bit of a pullback, but we are, for the most part, moving to the upside. I'm going to break down the charts for you. What should we be looking for next? If you saw the market update earlier, you will know my situation in the long position here down at that value area low. You guys can't see the screen right now, but there are some key levels that I am looking at to the upside. We do have a line in the sand here to break above in order to see new all-time highs, and we also have, well, we do have a line in the sand to the downside, but we're pretty far away from it. But we do have some key levels down below, guys. We also have some signs on market cipher B that could indicate another move to the upside. We got some mixed signals, to be quite honest, so I'm going to break down the charts. OBS is frozen. Hopefully I did not freeze for you guys. Oh, God, we're frozen again. Hang on one second here, guys. Hold on one second. What is going on? All right, we're live. We're here. Can you guys see me? Drop a green check mark. Drop a candle in the chat if you can see and hear me. But we're going to be taking a look at those levels to the downside, guys, and to the upside as well, as we do have that green dot. Look at a print on the daily. Is that going to be able to push us up into higher prices? Like I said, I will show you that line in the sand to the upside that we need to break above in order to see some new all-time highs, and we could also potentially be looking for a rejection there. But I'm going to keep you guys updated as price action develops. I'm trying to get this cup of black coffee up to my face here. But we got a lot to talk about on tonight's live stream, obviously, guys. We got CandleMafia John Cena in the chat. Trinity Trips Wires, what is going on, man? Welcome in. He says, let's go. Alex in the chat with the green check mark. Thank you very much. Dylan dropping those green dillies in the chat. What is going on? Jesse, what is going on? We got Perry in the chat. Says, salute, Frankie. What is going on, man? Seeing and hearing you clearly. Okay, cool. Shout out to Mr. Cali 20, or Mr. Call. Is that Mr. Call or Mr. Cali? I think it's Mr. Call 20. Shout out to you. We got Ken Barkoff in the chat. Said, Master Chef Frankie slatters that sauce. Oh, God, it keeps moving. Slatters that sauce, and his presentation is dope. Keep it coming. I'm hungry. All-time high. Shout out to Ken Barkoff. Welcome in, bro. We got everybody in the chat tonight. What is going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day. Loud and clear. I'm here for the sauce. Shout out to, shout out. Does that say Ravioli Trail? Shout out to Ravioli Trail. What is going on, bro? But, yeah, we got a lot to look at on the chart, guys. And I did. If you saw the market update today, guys, you will know I am still. Well, first off, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. And you guys will know I am holding my long position from down here at that value area low. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Up about like $24-ish $100. I got a little bit of profit locked in here. Stop loss actually set to break even now. So it is technically a guaranteed winning trade. I don't plan on letting this run all the way back down, but up about $2,500, $2,400 on that trade. Not too bad. I am still holding that position, but guys, there is a little bit, I don't even want to say like a story with this, but I did just film a trade recap video because I thought it would be very, very helpful for the Mafia, because this was a pretty fire trading plan / trading setup. But I did execute a little bit prematurely here. There were a couple of mistakes that I made on the execution. Like I said in the update, you know, it's like, well, Frank, you're up, you know, over 2K on the trade, and like in a day, like, how could you be upset about that? And it's not that I'm upset about it, but I did make some mistakes here on the execution, some silly mistakes that are totally avoidable. And I did do that trade recap because I wanted to go over, you know, those mistakes that I actually made on execution. And even though I have won the trade here at this point, you know, there is always room for opportunity to learn from simple mistakes that you make to increase your edge as a trader moving forward in your journey. So I did make a trade recap. I think it'll be really insightful. I talked about the exact reason I looked for this trade, the exact entry confirmation that I took prematurely here before we got this liquidity sweep. So stay tuned for that trade recap to come out. I filmed it today, and I do have some other altcoin videos that I'm ready to film as well, so those will be coming out soon. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these saucy live streams with all the key levels and all that good stuff. But you don't want to miss these trade recaps either, because if you're learning how to trade, I don't see a lot of people like giving the deep insight into you know, the reality of like actually what to look for to get into trades, and not only that, but showing honest mistakes, even if they do end up making you money in the end. So stay tuned for that. But as we look at the price action here, guys, obviously still holding that long position from the low here. We got that nice little liquidity sweep to the downside. Silly, silly mistake, guys. When you watch this trade recap, you're going to be like, Frankie, dude, what the heck were you doing, bro? Why didn't you just wait? But, you know, I'm going to explain everything to you guys in that video. But we did get that move. The plan for this trade was to see price bounce off the value area low with a move into the POC and eventually the value area high. This is obviously already played out. The final target for this was to see if we could come up and tap this golden pocket. We just barely front ran it, guys. So we even got this to run a little bit more. But I'm going to be holding this position. I'm also still holding my trade from all the way down here before we got the breakout into new all-time high. So I am holding a couple of long positions, but I do want to talk about the next areas that I'm going to be looking at for price to go. If you guys watched the video earlier today, you will know we do have that daily green dot. That does look suspiciously close to printing here, guys. We have that VWAP cruising to the upside here, looking to print that green dot. And you guys know, when we see these green dots on the chart and you have your momentum waves looking like they do right now, this could be a potential opportunity to look for a bearish divergence to form. And I know the question right now is, are we going to take off from here, or are we going to have to go down for a deeper retracement, maybe to take out this low into our key level of support, which you know we have been looking at on the stream. I'll bring it up very briefly today because we have covered it so many other times. But are we going to get that bigger cool off, or are we potentially even going to get a much bigger correction into these structural range highs, where we also do have some other confluent levels of support? And again, I don't want to really chew your ear off with these support levels just because we've been paying attention to them for so long. But as you guys know, like, even if we were to get some kind of bigger retracement in here, you know, we do have the $112,000 structural highs in line with the value area high of the range that we previously broke out of. It would not be impossible to come back down and retest that scene of the crime before putting in a higher low. My sentiment does still remain the same here, but if we do get that green dot, guys, trying to figure out whether this breaks up or down first is going to be a little bit of a difficult situation, right? Obviously, in my position right now, I would prefer a break to the upside first to have the longs continue to pay us out. That would be a very, very nice move, but it is not guaranteed. But if we are going to get it, obviously, if you look here at money flow, we do have the money flow coming to the downside here. We're coming up a little bit locally, but generally this is obviously trending to the downside. This would support a bigger retracement to come, in which case, obviously, I know if we were to drop from, you know, let's just say we drop from like where we peaked out just here, and then we do come down, test those, you know, $112,000 highs, that'd be about a 7% drop to the downside. If we dropped all the way down below 110K, really the level I don't want to lose is 110K, but technically that does kind of dip a little bit lower down into these $108,000 daily MPOCs. Good Lord, I did not think I would get that accurately to the daily MPOC, but you know, we do have these daily MPOCs. This would kind of be like the real line in the sand, but 110K staying above that value area high would be very, very important in my opinion, right? Because if we get stuck underneath this value area high, obviously, you know, this does put us at risk of coming back into the profile, losing the POC, coming back down to the low, and then at that point, right, we've already lost the breakout point, and if we start losing this range, as I talked about earlier today, we do have the macro volume profile just, you know, almost in that same exact area, $105,750. We get stuck under there, guys. That would kind of be the first sign that I would think that, like, hey, guys, we might be ready for a much bigger drop to the downside. But again, we're very far away from that. We have plenty of support down below. And I don't really want to chew you guys' ear off with that just because we've covered it so much. But if we come on down here to the local time frames, if we do get that break to the upside, just to break down exactly what I'll be looking for, obviously, guys, the big line in the sand here for me personally, you know, right here we do have the golden pocket daily MPOC sitting at about $120,474. That is that daily MPOC golden pocket confluence. So, you know, if we do continue to cruise up here, you do have to understand that daily MPOC might give us a little bit of resistance. But more importantly, we do have that line in the sand up here at that 786 sitting at about $121,642. This could be the doorway to new all-time highs, and it does get a little bit sticky here, guys, because we do obviously have this next daily MPOC sitting right here at $122,707. However, at that point, right, like, is it possible to come up there and reject this level? Yes, but at that point, it is a little bit more difficult because you're getting above that 786, which, again, in my opinion, would be the line in the sand for all-time highs. So, you know, could you sweep up there and get a quick rejection back down below the 786 potentially? But for the most part, that 786 is going to be the line in the sand, guys. We've been looking at these 786s as a big doorway to higher prices for many, many, many other coins, such as Solana, which has obviously been cooking through this profile as we have been looking at, also covered in the market update. You know, obviously this 786 was that line in the sand, and even if you come on down to a lower time frame here, guys, it's like, hey guys, you have this resistance level of the value area high above, aka very similar to the daily MPOC we have above. But you know, once we get above that 786, it's like, would I be looking for giga shorts here? Absolutely not. And the reason for that is because once you break above that 786, you know, the chances of getting that next move and that break of structure to the upside that you would hope for is going to be likely. And I will cover this in more detail in just a minute, but I just want to show like the similarity there. Like, is this resistance? Yes. Did you get a rejection? Yes. Was it a massive dump down to zero? Absolutely not. You just came back down to retest that 786, and what do you get after that? You get the break of structure to the upside, and by break of structure, I mean the snap of this high right here. So Very, very similar situation, for the most part. If we were able to get above there, I would basically be anticipating all-time highs. You just have to be careful of that rejection, although likely to end up in a higher low and a breakout. If you get stuck under that 786, it's like on a higher time frame, what that would look like is, maybe on a daily candle or something like that, you might get the candle to the upside, the wick into the daily MPOC, and then the closure down below that 786. And that, could potentially call for the bigger drop to the downside. So that's what I'm going to be looking at here for the move up if we do get it. Now, hyper locally, I will say here, guys, we are starting to get a little bit of a pullback from here, and we do have we do have 45-minute bearish divergences, higher lows. We have higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves, giving us that bearish divergence, which could potentially indicate a little bit of a cool off here. And at this point, guys, this is a pretty typical signal, right? When you see these bearish divergences, it could potentially get you accepted back into the range. And I will just be treating this as a volume profile, guys. We had some long setups inside this volume profile in the premium Discord. We were looking at this scalp level of support being the value area low for potential long positions back up to the POC. We were unable to make it back to the high. We test the low again, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high. So there is an opportunity here locally, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I am still a little suspicious with the way that daily looks, guys. That daily green dot, like, could this get rejected at the zero line? Of course. But again, trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting, right? Or just jumping into random trades. But, if we got accepted in here, we could get the potential pushback down to the POC and the value area low to once again fill that range in full, as we see happen time and time again. We obviously capitalize on these moves, as I just showed you with my long position from yesterday. These little moves up and down can make you a decent amount of money. And to be honest, guys, I think there's a misconception here to make, like, if you're making $2,000 in a day, right, you must be trading with a gigantic account. But I really only have $3,300 on this trade. It's obviously on 29x leverage. I don't think you guys can see that. My face is covering it. But yeah, quick little like $2,400, and that is if I were to close this whole position right now. But there's plenty of money to be made within these volume profiles, and this is the bread and butter of our trading strategy, right? We have these ranges form. We're able to bing bong on these shorts and longs from the high to the low, from the low to the high, back and forth, and then eventually this will either get the bigger break to the upside where we will be long from the low, or we will get the break back to the downside. And you might be saying, well, Frankie, you must be in a short from up here. And although this is a valid setup to potentially get accepted back into the range, back down to the POC, back down to the low, that would not really shock me. However, guys, with that daily green dot potentially incoming here, we have about an hour and 58 minutes to see if we're going to get that green dot or get rejected at the zero line. I would say money flow points to the downside, but that green dot with the potential bearish divergence could call for a break to the upside. So I am going to kind of sit on my hands here. This is typically a situation where I would take a short position, but I'm just, there is a chance here, not only with that daily green dot printing, but if we come on down here to the 80 and 90 minute money flow, which is the 1/16th time frame of the daily, when you have this money flow crossing into the green on time frames like the 80 minute and the 90 minute, right, with the daily green dot potentially printing, this could indicate a continuation of the trend to the upside. So that's why I'm being a little bit more cautious with the shorts up here. And then, if we do wind up getting a breakout, I will be interested in potentially looking for shorts up in this zone. I'll be keeping up with the premium Discord, letting them know how the price action's developing in there, exactly what confirmations to look for. But if we did wind up coming down here, we get the full rotation, I would not be that shocked. But, with the daily kind of mixed signal there, I am going to kind of sit on my hands and see what happens up here. But, locally, if I had to make a guess here, we also do have the, obviously, 45-minute bearish divergence. Where is it at, right? 45-minute bearish divergence. We've confirmed the 30-minute bearish divergence, and you can see we're starting to hold some support on the value area high. So I'm just going to sit on my hands, see what happens here. And then if we push them into those higher levels, I'll look for another short. And if we get that drop to the downside, my plan remains exactly the same here. I will be looking, again, just within this profile, right? Maybe we come back down to the lows, we get another scalp long setup. And then if we break down below this, you guys all know that next big key level of support to look at is at about $115,000, where we do have that golden pocket daily NPOC sitting between about 115,381 and 114,859. That is going to be that next big key level if we break down out of this range. And yeah, that is pretty much what I'm going to be looking for. I don't want to go through the whole spiel of like exactly how this is going to play out to the downside if we get it, because I've covered it so many times. I think you guys know 786 honorable mention down here, 113.2. Once we start losing that, I think it's much closer to getting down into that big 112 to 110K level. And that's really going to be the level that we want to hold, guys, because again, if we break down back into that volume profile below 110K, that's kind of where I start to maybe set my sights on some lower targets. Let's see. Thoughts on the potential 4-day red dot? Shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, so if we take a look at some of the higher time frames as well, I'll even turn off the TA here. Again, like, it's something we have to understand, guys, is, yeah, this is honestly kind of like a difficult point, right? Because it's like, Is Bitcoin just going to keep cooking? Because when Bitcoin cooks, guys, it just cooks. It just cooks, right? Like even up here, like you barely get, any pullbacks here. You put in the higher low, you get a tiny little pullback, a blow off, not a blow off top, but like a big rip to the upside, little tiny consolidation, big rip to the upside, a little bit of a longer consolidation, big rip to the upside. Is this thing just going to keep cooking to the upside, or can we get the pullback? I mean, here's the thing, right? The 2-day red dot, this is not necessarily fully played out yet. Obviously, you could see the VWAP hanging there below the 0 line. This could continue to stick below this for a while, but it didn't really give us that much of a move down, right? We had the 2-day red dot print right on this candle. We got the little drop down and then the big bounce to the upside. 3-day red dot is also confirmed. Hasn't given us a ton of follow through just yet. 4-day red dot is potentially incoming as well. So when you see these high time frame red dots, guys, I would just look at this as a evidence piece for that potential bigger pullback, right? Potentially coming down to that 110K level, at least in the worst case scenario, while staying bullish, right? Yeah, we could watch this. These could easily come in and continue us down, and this is why I am keeping an open mind to a potential continuation down. And we could even see something like this, guys. We push up into the golden pocket, right, and then we maybe go test that 786 and then go to take the lows. So it is a game of patience here, guys. But obviously, there's no reason to not be making money on the chart, right? That's the beautiful thing about being a trader. It's not like, man, this thing has been going sideways. We're not making any money. There's plenty of money to be had inside these ranges. So I'm going to sit here, stick to my plan, see if we come up here first or if we get accepted back into the range. And then my next, major area I would look for a bounce is 115K. So we'll watch the price action as it develops. Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated with the market updates, the live streams, all that good stuff, and the trade recaps, which will be coming out, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple days. Depends on how fast I can get it cut. But that's kind of my theory here on Bitcoin, guys. I want to take a look at the altcoins as well, guys, because as you know, we've been looking at Bitcoin dominance. We've been looking at total 3. We looked at total market cap making a new all-time high. We have a lot of things potentially pointing to more upside here. But as you guys know, for the altcoins, obviously, Bitcoin dominance, right? Bitcoin dominance has been absolutely tanking to the downside, which is very nice to see. I'll actually pull it up over here just because we have our actual TIA on the chart. You guys know once we lost that point of control, we were very likely to see another big drop to the downside, and specifically looking for like that big meltdown, right? Like not just like a slow grind, but a fast drop back down towards that value area low. And technically, guys, this value area low on Bitcoin dominance is a level of support, and you can see we drop down below it. We're potentially trying to get back above it. We could see turbulence here, right? This is where I compare the Bitcoin dominance all the way to back here. Bada boom. All the way in 2021, we filled the range. We came back. We bing-bonged around the value area low in the POC while the daily money flow was in the red. But with that daily money flow in the red, it did make you think that, like, hey, the continuation of this trend is probably to the downside, right? And then you see the beautiful alt season happen. You break down onto the value area low. Absolute dump on dominance. That is what you want to see for alt season. But more importantly, guys, I do think it is also important to pay attention to the rate cuts, because I think everybody knows, right? We need those rate cuts in order to support, in my opinion, the altcoin season. And I'm not personally expecting rate cuts in July. And, it really depending on what happens there. You have to watch those projections. I really highly doubt we get the rate cut in July. Maybe we get it in September. And there is even a potential possibility. I know the altcoins, looking at the altcoin charts, they all look really good. And it starts to feel really nice as, like, you look at your portfolio. Finally, ETH isn't down, like, especially people who are buying up at $4,000, right? You're like, ETH's not down like 75% or whatever it was. It's really nice to see, but you have to understand at the end of the day, if they delay these rate cuts, guys, it is probably going to delay alt season. So, as expected here, July, I wouldn't think that rate cuts are going to come in. And then September, maybe we can get them. And if not, they might have to push it a little bit further. But at the end of the day, like, once we get that, I think we will see the altcoins start to pop. And based off the charts here, not only the altcoin charts, but the Bitcoin dominance chart, all that good stuff, it does look like it is very likely we're on the cusp of that happening, right? But just, be aware. This does not mean that you have to have the altcoins rip right now, just because the charts look bullish. There are retracements that could happen. There are potentially scary dumps that could happen. But the longer-term sentiment still remains the same for me. But I am aware that we could get these rate cuts delayed, and that will very likely delay alt season. But when you have a long-term outlook on this market, guys, I really do think, right? Nobody thought Ethereum was going to pop back to the upside. Everybody called it dead. Here we are. This is very nice. I'm actually very bullish on Ethereum. Maybe I'll drop an Ethereum video talking about what I'm expecting for all-time highs. Actually, I think we already did take a poll on what you guys want to see. I'm going to try to make some like all-time high prediction videos for Ethereum, maybe Cardano. Cardano's another chart that looks pretty good in my opinion. This is for our line from yesterday, right? As we tap our head on the doorway to higher prices, we have a lot of stuff looking here, looking pretty good, right? Total 3 cruising through its volume profile. Like this is exactly what we wanted to see as Bitcoin dominance started to break down from its POC. I mean, everything is right on track, but the one thing that really could step on this, guys, is going to be the rate cuts getting delayed. And maybe in that situation, that's where we see a little bit of consolidation here on the Bitcoin dominance, right? And then, like the alts kind of like get corrections and they kind of chop around, and then it might just take a little bit longer to finally get those rate cuts. But hopefully we could just get them in September. And I mean, hey, in the best case scenario, we get a super surprise cut in July, but like the predictions right now are like very low chance. It's like a 90-something% chance that they do not cut rates. And those are typically right. Those are right like almost 100% of the time. So you just got to take the data that you have and like take it into consideration and try to use that to predict what you're expecting to happen next in the market. Let's see. Someone said Cardano. Shout out to Nirvana. I said Cardano. Let's go. Shout out to Nirvana. Shout out to Khan. Said this is the end of the bull market. That's all we got on dominance. That would be disappointing. Bitcoin topped out. There it is, guys. All-time high for this cycle, $123,300. I mean, I don't know, to be honest, definitely not impossible, but, you know, in my opinion, it really has a lot to do with the rate cuts. And, yeah, I still keep my same sentiment. It's not going to be until we really start breaking down some really key levels, guys. And, you know, there are times where you can see, you know, maybe potential black swan events or something like that. But, you know, I don't want to try to figure out every single scenario, right? Like, we're not going to try to predict a black swan event. This is impossible. It's called a black swan because it's unpredictable, right? But, yeah, I personally don't fall in that camp. But just remember, right, like a lot of people will say, like, if we pull back here, they'll be like, I thought it wasn't the bear market. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't change my sentiment at all, right? It's just a pullback. You got to zoom out and, you know, keep an eye on like the macro sentiment of the market, right? Like, especially right now, there is no reason to think the top is in. Even down here, we talk about this every day, right? $75,000. Everybody was calling for the bear market. Not us. Why? Well, very clearly from the chart here, guys, we never broke macro structure. I don't know why people thought this was the bear market. It wouldn't have been, right? There is a case where this could have been the bear market, right? But we really had to break back down into this range, right? And we did not, right? What do? We broke out, we retested, and then we put in the higher high as we expected, right? Yeah, you know, I'm never going to say it's impossible if the top is in, but, you know, I say that every time. Not impossible, but not my opinion, right? Not my, you know, based off my analysis, that's not what I would think. But there is still definitely room for a bigger correction to come in here, especially with those high time frame red dots. But let me jump into chat here real quick. Tony D said safe moon. Shout out to Tony D. I still hold my safe moon. I'm not going to lie. It's I don't think I've ever been at a loss on my safe moon, guys. I watched it go from $100 to like $15,000, and then God, I just totally noob handled that bag, guys. I watched it go from 100 to 15K back down to like, actually I think it settled around like a few hundred. That bag has never been at a loss. I don't know how it's. I bought it literally like the second it came out. So I just never went back down to my entry, which is crazy. And I still hold it. Maybe SafeMoon will make a comeback. Let's see here. If no rate cuts this year, rate cuts would basically signal the end of the bull market. Yeah, like maybe that'd be crazy. Like if we don't get rate cuts, it's like, you know, maybe we just wiggle around, right? Bada boom, bada bing, right? We get rate cuts, and then maybe it's just like, it's like they're just like holding on. It's like they're just edging Bitcoin. It's like boop boop, and just snaps back to the downside. Not what I would want to see, guys, but obviously it is possible. But, you know, we're going to have a lot of information that comes in. You know, we got the FOMC meetings, all that good stuff. So we'll keep you guys updated. It would be crazy to see no actual alt season in this cycle. Again, not impossible. I think it's unlikely. But, you know, definitely my more unlikely case for that to happen. But definitely not impossible. That would be super disappointing. But we'll see what happens. But I do still hold my same sentiment that I've had for the past, you know, couple of months here. Nothing really that big has happened. Shout out to Trade Mate. Said, hey, Frankie, can we do SEI today? Yes, I'll try to take a look at SEI today. Shout out to Aaron. Says, don't feel bad. I still have 3 million safe moon. Shout out to Aaron. Let's go, baby. If it happens, I'm prepared. Jesse, that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to JR. Says, whatever brings the sheep, I want that. I was once a lamb too. Shout out to JR Ford. I was a lamb once. Now I'm a goat. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I do have a pet goat. Shout out to Phoebe. Anyway, let's see here. Nas. Shout out to Gen Z wants to see Nas. We got Keith asking for Bonk. TradeMate says, thank you. XLM, please. Yeah, we'll try to take a look at XLM. Lusha says, 4-hour SFP, but can you trust it? Yeah, shout out to Lusha. If we take a look at this 4-hour, yeah, I mean, 4-hour SFP, I mean, it's definitely there, right? It is confirmed, too, right? You wicked above, you close the candle down below, and if you don't know what he's talking about, he's just talking about wicking above this wick, or wicking above the wick and then closing back down below. But again, with that daily green dot, right, guys, it's like, it's very hard, right? You even have your 4-hour money flow popping back to the upside. And, you know, when you have mixed signals like this, it doesn't mean that it's like super unlikely to get the move down, right? You have your daily money flow coming out, but that green dot could very easily pop you to the upside. I like to have multiple levels of confluence for my trades. And you guys will see that. You'll see in that trade recap of the long position that I'm holding right now from the value area low, you'll kind of see where I was looking at multiple levels of confluence, but I was very rushed on the trade, or I don't even want to say I was very rushed, but I rushed the trade, right? Full accountability here. You know, I should have looked at more confirmation, and they were so clear on the chart. And I think it'll really help a lot of people out who might struggle with actually entering trades. It might be something that you do very often, right? So I'm hoping you guys can learn from that, just trying to drop as much value. It might be a learning lesson for me, but value for the Mafia. Let's see. Smash. Oh, don't forget to smash the like buttons, guys. I did not say that. Smash that like button. If you have not already, if you appreciate the free TA, please smash that like button. Push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Sleek Coil said, can we put altcoin requests here now? Shout out to Sleek Coil. I'm going to do a new thing here. I am only going to take altcoin requests. You don't have to put them all in at the same time, but I'm just going to start kind of grabbing them out of chat. I'm not going to take any super chat requests at all. As you guys know, if you super chat your altcoin, it doesn't guarantee that we see it, but I have to repeat this every time like new people come into the stream. So I'm only ever, I'm not even going to take the requests or say I'm going to take requests. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on the chat and start pulling from, I'm going to look at the coins that I'm going to show, and then I'll come in here and start grabbing some altcoins from you guys when I check in on chat. Let's see, Tyler Durden in the chat. What is going on? He says, last cycle, so many got killed waiting for 100. Yeah, shout out to Tyler Durden. And this is why I am never going to get caught saying, Bitcoin has to go to 150K. Bitcoin has to go to 130K. When someone says this, you have to understand they are just, they don't mean that it has to go to 100K or 150 or whatever. It just means that they think it's going to go there. There's nothing saying that even when you have a technical target, right? We have a technical target up here at about 145K. It does not mean Bitcoin has to go up to that level. It means if we push up, that is a level that we can look at for a reaction, right? So I'm going to start dropping some all-time high videos to kind of give like realistic price predictions, right? As you guys know, my major price predictions for Bitcoin really do only come up, right? And I'm not saying you can't go higher than this because it's kind of hard when you talk about all-time highs, because if you don't say the if you don't say it's going to like the absolute highest target that everyone's talking about, everyone's like, what the heck? How come he's not talking about 200K? And then, if you, it's just a very difficult situation. The reason I would never just say it has to go to 200K is because what Tyler Durden just said. Everybody was waiting for $100,000, which could have been possible, right? We could have hit $100,000, but by looking at the TA and understanding that we were coming up to a very key Fibonacci extension level down here, or I should say up here, right? Pull up those extension levels, right? We were coming up to this, key level up here. Could you have broken above this and gone for much higher targets? Potentially, right? Where would I have been looking next? If we did break out there, I probably would have been looking up towards about, 85, 75, and even potentially into the hundreds, right? But just because you have those targets up there does not mean they have to hit them. And here's the absolute proof, right? They thought Ethereum was going to 20K, Ethereum was going to 12K. They thought, Bitcoin was going to 100K, XRP to, whatever, $60 million. But, this is not how the markets move. This is not how you make money trading. So, just keep that in mind, right? You had between $73,000 and $87,000 as your next target, right? And I would have been looking at this if we thought we were going to make new all-time highs, and maybe even look at it if you think it's unlikely, right? But you just say, well, hey, the next target, if we do pop up, is going to be up here. But there's no guarantee that you have to hit those levels. But if you do come up to those levels, chances of getting a reaction there are very high. So yeah, it can help you understand. We've used these Fibonacci extension tools to, predict the, all-time high this cycle, right? We were looking between $92,000 and $102,000, and you guys can see here, obviously, whoops. You guys can see how, obviously, we did get stuck right in that Fibonacci pocket, right up here before getting the cool off and then breaking off into new all-time highs. And our next Fibonacci pocket up here is at about 137K, guys. Once we get up here, right, if it's not looking super mega bullish or we don't just melt through those levels, it's going to be a big level, right? It's going to be a big level. We might not even make it up there, but if we do, right, 137K is much more muted than I'm sure a lot of the price predictions that you see out there. And just remember, My price predictions, if I had a YouTube channel back here, would have been a lot more muted than $100,000 as well. And just understand, we never hit that level, right? If you smash through these levels and it looks bullish, then you can look up towards those higher targets towards $200. But there is no guarantee that we have to hit that. And don't get fooled by that because it's going to start popping up everywhere, especially if Bitcoin pushes into these higher targets. So with that being said, still exciting, still plenty of room on the altcoins to run. Hopefully, we got the rate cuts, obviously, that could step on it. But that's really that one condition that I will be watching that could really kind of rain on everybody's parade when it comes to the altcoins. But speaking of altcoins, let's go ahead and jump on in here to Ethereum, guys. Nothing really to update here. We're still just kind of hanging out above this value area high. I'm not going to talk about all-time high predictions or anything right now. We are obviously approaching resistance here. And there's actually another range that I want to look at with you guys here. But, obviously, we got to fulfill this volume profile. We're deviating above the volume profile as we speak right now. And at this point, right, the key levels down below remain exactly the same. We have this daily MPOC. We have the value area high of the range. And I do believe we have a Fibonacci retracement level up there as well. So you have your golden pocket 786 daily MPOC sitting at about 35.70 to 34.32. So if we do get a bigger pullback, this is still the big level of support that I will be looking at. Once you break down below that, I'm probably looking closer to this daily MPOC at about 31.66. So it would not make me super bearish on Ethereum or anything. Obviously, you would be getting accepted back into your value area high, which as always, right, you have to understand it's like, well, hey, losing this value area high is not the most bullish scenario ever. But with the way money flow on the 2-day looks, right, creeping into the red, this 2-day red dot could cool you off, but the money flow indicates the overall trend, right? The money flow indicates the overall continuation to the upside with the money flow crossover into the green, just like the crossovers into the red indicate the continuation to the downside. The red and green dots will indicate the ebbs and the flows, right? So maybe we get a little ebb or flow to the downside with the high time frame red dots, but this is the first level of support I'm going to be watching. And if not, if we don't hold that, I will be looking down towards 31.70, and then we lose that. We have another golden pocket 786 with confluence on those daily MPOC sitting right here, and that does sit between about 3,000 and 27.92, which would also be a retest of these previous range highs that we had that we consolidated in for what was it? Was it like 60-something days, right? Like almost 2 months of consolidation there. So this will give you structural support as well, kind of similar to Bitcoin, right? Coming back down and retesting its range highs before a bigger breakout to come. Hopefully, that would be the hope, right? Doesn't mean it's guaranteed that you're going to bounce there, but I would definitely be looking for bounces there. It's not until you start breaking those levels that I'd be looking for the bigger move down. Same thing for Ethereum, right? Could actually, you know what? I'll pull it up on a clean chart, right? If we do pull back, I would not want to see this, right? But I would expect some kind of like major support to come in there around the $28,000 to $3,000 level. And again, supported by actual horizontals, right? 3,000 to 2,800, right? Daily MPOC, golden pocket 786. And then you have that next little cluster up here. So that's what I'll be looking at. Again, on top of that, we also do have the weekly money flow crossing over into the green, which is typically a very bullish sign for Ethereum. Last time we got one of these was all the way at the bottom of the bear market, right? We got the pop to the upside. Money flow crosses into the green. Obviously, you don't never get a pullback again, but the bottom is in. You put in higher lows and higher highs to continue through the profile. Very similar situation here. Weekly money flow crossover. Oh, baby! Doesn't look that bad for Ethereum, in my opinion. And we even looked at ETH BTC yesterday, right? Just like looking at this chart, understanding that, actually, let me pull up the actual chart that we have here with the volume profile, right? We also, we've come down almost to that value area low. Like we're approaching this POC. If we can get above that POC, guys, like this is pretty bullish. And this is like another chart that you can look at where it's like, every time Ethereum comes anywhere near these levels, right, on ETH BTC, you get massive, massive support. So I actually feel pretty good about Ethereum as of right now. And hopefully that remains to, stay the truth. But, and then I do want to check in on Solana. Obviously, we have gotten the kind of full measured move to play out here on that head and shoulders formation we were looking at. Obviously, you do have a little left shoulder head, right shoulder. I'll pull up a lower time frame so you can see it a little better. Right, left shoulder. I'm getting text messages out the wazoo right now, guys. The bat phone is going off. This is, hey, Kyle. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to follow up to see if you're still open to discussing a lump sum offer on your property. He's lucky he didn't call. I'd put him in front of the mafia and we'd clown him on stream. No, I'm just kidding. But we did get this little head and shoulders. We had the measured move here pulled from the neckline to the low. You pull that to the breakout point, and it did bring us up here to about $200 on Solana. And when we pull up our actual Solana chart, obviously this has been playing right along with what we've been wanting to see here, putting in the higher low on our golden pocket here, looking for that break of structure to the upside to fulfill, right? Not only do you have the head and shoulders with the technical target pushing you into this value area, but you also have the low, the high, the higher low, in which case you would be looking for a break of structure to the upside, which would also crack you above your doorway to higher prices, which we all know was sitting here at $183. Once we crack above that value area low, the next major target for Solana was going to be $216.90 at that point of control. Once you break above that value area low, the next likely place for price to get gravitated to is going to be that point of control, which is also confluent with a macro golden pocket retracement. Now, this does sit between about 216.45 and about 225.53. So can Solana continue up? Well, we were right about the bounce from the value area low above the POC into the high, and then we were also right about the, and not to say that we were right to brag, just I should say the TA was right? Looking at that 786 is the line in the sand. We break out of that 786, flip it to support, and we indeed do get that break of structure to the upside, cooking you above that value area low and slamming you through this profile. Let's see if we can hit that POC. Very, very, very nice to see. But other than that, not much to update here on Solana, just seeing what we're looking for playing out. Very, very nice. And then again, 2-day money flow, obviously something to look for on that continuation up. That did give us the early signal that we looked at on the live stream, letting us know that the continuation overall is probably going to be likely, and we would not be looking at massive lower highs on that Fibonacci retracement, but rather looking at that 786 more as a doorway and a signal to get the breakout. So there you go. Let's go. Cook, Solana. Cook, baby. Let's see. Do I think the bull run will be extended if rate cuts are delayed? Shout out to Satoshi Chronicles. It's hard to say, right? Because you do run into a little bit of a pickle there because it's, there is the idea of the 4-year cycle. Now, I think you guys know for the most part where I stand on the 4-year cycle. Essentially, Bitcoin just tracks traditional finance, the traditional markets. I know the 4-year cycle plays out almost perfectly every time. Each cycle has its own quirk, but Frankie, we made an all-time high before the halving. Yes, every cycle does have its own little quirk, but I will say this, right? Like, if it depends on how much they get delayed, right? I'm totally fine. Like, I'm not expecting rate cuts in July. The one time I would, at one point expect the rate cuts would be in September. But if those get delayed, that's where you're kind of you kind of get crossed with this situation where, you're kind of running out of time when it comes to the 4-year cycle, right? Good Lord. Should we do it? Should we do it? Nah, it's okay. We don't have time for the scammers. Anyway, we'll do it one day. We'll answer it live on stream. It's just like CVS. They're like, Frankie Candles, your inhaler is ready. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, when we look at that, right, it's like, let me see. Do I have my cycle chart open here? Let me go ahead and let me pull up my cycle chart real quick. Where's it at? Bada boom. Right, so let me load up this cycle chart, right? It's like, for the most part, these cycles have played out like almost perfectly every single time. So if I pull this up on the Bitstamp chart, this is my cycle chart. They just have the halvings marked out. I have more stuff marked out on this too, but just the halvings are showing right now. So it's like, it really depends. I mean, if we start to extend past the 4-year cycle, it is a little bit sketchy. That's kind of why I talked about earlier. Maybe it's like if you do have to bing bong around and it does get overextended, maybe you just get like a little pop to the upside and a major dump. But yeah, I'd have to see what the information looks like when we get there as far as the chart goes. Like, if we get the rate cuts and things look super bearish, like maybe we don't see a reaction. It's very hard to call. It's, we're just going to have to see. And hopefully we don't have to deal with those delays. But it's either one of two things, right? It's either going to delay the bull market, right, or extend the bull market, rather, because this is not, we're not waiting for the bull market to start. The bull market is here, right? The bull market has been here for a while. But, the idea of it, the top coming in is like, is it just going to extend that last top to come in, or is it going to just kind of cancel the whole thing and we're just going to dump down into a bear market? I do think, there is a possibility for both to happen, but, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Hopefully we don't have to deal with those delays. But yeah, it's kind of hard to make that call, to be honest. I would think rate cuts come in, like it's still going to have an effect, and we're still going to see some liquidity go into the more risk on assets. But we'll see what happens. Good Lord, guys. I am just getting just savagely. Good Lord. All right. Anyway. Let me turn this on silent. I've never been this interrupted by my phone ever. This is crazy. I go live every single day. We just got like 4 phone calls and 6 text messages. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. But I do want to come back over here to the altcoins, guys. We took a look at Ethereum, took a look at Solana. We're going to take a look at XRP as well. Actually, I'm not even really going to cover XRP because, XRP just still kind of sitting up here at a resistance level. I'm going to skip XRP today because we covered every day. You guys know all the key levels of support. We do have now, I will say this, we do now have confluence on the 299 to 286 daily MPOCs and in confluence with the 786 Fibonacci retracement, anchored VWAP is coming up there as well, right? So if we did get some kind of like massive drop to the downside, this would be kind of the biggest level of support before I would be looking down to the range highs at about 200 260, right? $2.60, that is. So yeah, and then maybe I'll make an XRP price prediction video as well. We'll see. I'm trying to pick altcoins that I want to do these for. But let's see. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. H-Bar will get you 1 billion likes. Shout out to Chris. Let's go. We need 1 billion likes. We'd have to do a crazy giveaway for 1 billion likes. I'm not going to lie. Actually, you know what? I will take a look at H-Bar because I want to take a look at H-Bar as well. But where's it at? Do I have it on here? I don't think I do. Let me just pull up our H-Bar chart real quick. This is it. I believe this is it. Okay, so taking a look at H-Bar here. This is old. You can get rid of this fib. Old news. Old news. Daily MPOC is still valid. Anchored VWAP technically still valid. I would probably be more likely to move that anchored VWAP here. This daily MPOC is invalid. Okay, so I mean, here we are, guys. You know, H-Bar, as we've looked at many, many times, not just on H-Bar, but on literally every single other altcoin. Value area low, doorway to higher prices. We were tapping on the door recently. Once you get above there, you're looking to go to the POC. We've already almost come up and tapped that, right? So the key levels I would be looking at, I can get rid of this MPOC. I can get rid of this weekly MPOC. You actually had a decent bit of confluence here. You had of resistance, right? You had a weekly MPOC, daily MPOC, value area low. So big resistance. However, also doorway to higher prices. So if you can get back above those, and you did actually get a little bit of resistance there, obviously, you come up, you tap it, you come back down, you break above it. Now you're in the profile, you go for the POC. And again, we did front run that POC slightly. I'll get rid of this, get rid of this. At this point, you can just see, look at the flip on that value area low, guys. You come up, try to hold it, you lose it. You come up, you try to hold it, you lose it. You come up, rejection, rejection, rejection. You flip it, and you push through the profile. Barely front running the POC of the range. And I will actually, you know, for argument's sake here, let me just make sure I like where this range is pulled from. Let's see. Come on! TradingView. Okay, TradingView doesn't want to work there. Oh, yeah, it doesn't have information past that point. Very interesting. I'll have to go up to a higher time frame there. Yeah, no, I like that range. So yeah, POC still sitting up here at about 30 cents. That would technically be the next target within the profile. Key level of support would be, at this point, right, I'm not saying that it would be like absolutely the worst thing ever to lose the range right now. You could, you know, sometimes play around with these. But at the end of the day, local level of support, value area low, sitting at about 24 cents. This is going to be the level you want to hold. You come in, you break into the range. Sometimes you retest the low. But at the end of the day, you're going to be looking for that confusing journey to continue you up through your very high probability volume profile. Looking for that POC at 30 cents. Once you get above there, I will be looking up towards the value area high at 36 cents. And then once we get up there, you do have a golden pocket sitting up there as well, which is a macro golden pocket pulled from the high to the low, which means that this is your next major, major, major level. And that 786 specifically at about, call it 46 cents, is going to be the doorway into new all-time highs. So this is what I'd be looking at. That's the major volume profile. Value area low, 24 cents. POC, 30 cents. Value area high, 35 cents. And that's what I'm going to be watching, right? We can keep an eye on these levels down here. This is obviously an old fib. We can get rid of this. And then we'll just leave all these levels here. If we come back down, obviously in a bigger retracement situation, we would be looking, if you lose this value area low, you can watch this anchor VWAP pulled from the low in June, right? That anchor VWAP will likely move up if price comes down. But other than that anchored VWAP, I would probably be looking at these range highs sitting at about 19 cents. Once you start losing those, just like on Bitcoin, you get accepted back into that range, you're probably looking for the bigger move down. But right now, you're inside your upper profile, so that is what I'm going to be using for context as far as where price will go next. And then market cipher, same thing as everything else. 2-day money flow crossover. Weekly, the money flow trying to come up, VWAP starting to curve back down. So again, it's not that there can't be any turbulence here, but again, you know, as you're in this profile, you have to be looking up towards those upper profile levels. And yeah, 2-day money flow, you know, that red dot maybe gives you a little pullback, but the anticipated continuation of the trend would be to the upside based off money flow. Money flow indicates the overall trend every single time. So there we go. Let me just check in on Bitcoin real quick. Is it continue? Trying to push back up there. Not too shabby. 23. All right, now we're up a little bit more on the long. Can't hate that. Let's see here. Hey, shout out to the King of Bitcoin said, how you doing, Frankie? Shout out to the King of Bitcoin. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing better. Shout out to you, man. Welcome in. Arc Block is the one. Please look at it. Shout out to Drew. We'll try to take a look at Arc Block for you. Shout out to Chris. Said very much appreciated. Thank you, Frankie. No problem, Chris. I got you. What do I think about Bitcoin? Shout out to the King of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is a good stunk. I think it's a good stunk. But anyway, shout out to King of Bitcoin. Just scrub back to the beginning of the stream. I went over Bitcoin in full in the beginning of the stream. Scrub back and then meet us back into the current time. Go back into the past and meet us in the present. Let's see. All right, let's see. Shout out to You Grow, I Grow. Frankie, when you cash out on a big trade, how do you like to splurge or how do you reward yourself? You Grow, I Grow, reward myself. What is that? Shout out to You Grow, I Grow. I'll be honest. I'll be honest, guys. I don't very often splurge on myself. I'm actually trying to work on that because, if you work hard and you're staring at the charts all the time, sometimes you have to reward yourself. But, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of times I'll just go out with Mrs. Candles. But, yeah, I don't know. There's been so many times, and, there's to be honest, just to be kind of transparent with you guys, it's like, there's been so many like milestones in my life, like career-wise, money-wise, success-wise, whatever you want to call it, that I thought like once you get there, it's like, oh, I can't wait to do this thing. And for me personally, it's kind of just like a mental thing for me. It's like every time I like leveled up, I was like, oh, now I can do that thing. And it's just the idea of being able to do that thing, right? It's like, I dreamed of days where I could make, I used to have to work a full month for this amount of money. And now, I entered this trade right before the live stream yesterday. I dreamed of days like this. And, I was like, man, if I could make that much money, I'd probably be buying this and doing that. And, as I progressed, it's just kind of like the idea of like being able to do something that kind of fulfills the urge for me. Obviously I do have fun. I do things. I do buy stuff. But like, for me personally, it's like, every time I think of something, it's like, there's a lot of things that I thought I wanted to do or get. And I realized I was just enjoying the chase to get there. And then once I got there, I was like, nah, like for example, like a watch, like, oh, I'll get this watch one day, right? And then it's like you're able to buy that watch, and I'm like, I'm just gonna, keep doing my thing, and then skip this level and go to the next level. And it's kind of a downfall for me personally because I do think it is important to reward yourself, especially when you, when you're able to like stick with something like trading and like make it out on the other end. I think it is important to reward yourself because it's like at the end of the day, why are you not doing the work? But it's not that I don't spend the money on anything, but I'm very, very productive with my money. Like instead of buying some stupid thing, right? Like I want to grow my money. I want to invest my money. I want to build true wealth. So a lot of my like big spends are investments, regardless of what it is, right? Most of it's obviously crypto. So yeah, I just like to reinvest a lot of my money, and anything that I thought I wanted that was materialistic, I just like, you know what? I'm going to save up. I'm going to skip this level, and then I'm going to chase this new thing. So one day I'll cash out, and hopefully, it's funny because if, that's just kind of like just full transparency. Like, there's a lot of things that I can go do or get right now, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep cooking. Head down, right? I think I have a fear personally of like, if you celebrate too much, or you don't want to get complacent, you don't want to lose your grit, you don't want to lose your hustle, and I do think that some of those things could potentially do that, right? Because you feel like you've arrived at your destination, you're not grinding, you're not hustling, all of a sudden you're not looking at the charts as much as you did, you're not trading as much as you were, you're not making as many YouTube videos, whatever it is. So I do like to be very, very careful about that. Avoiding lifestyle creep to a fault. But yeah, there's that true answer. But yeah, maybe when I go out and splurge on fun stuff, maybe I'll document it for you guys. But let's see. Yo, shout out to Michael S. said, let's go to 47th Street and get us a man's watch. I got you. Shout out to Michael S. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll shoot a vlog and go down back to the motherland. We'll go back to New York and we'll hit up the Diamond District. Maybe we'll hit up like Moses the Jeweler or something and go get a watch. But even then, guys, it's like I'm mostly doing that for the content. It's like, I don't know. I'm not really that much of a materialistic person. I do like cool stuff. I love cars. I love watches. I love jewelry, honestly. But like, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I value like experiences a little bit more, but I'm just always stuck in the studio. Let's see. Remember when people spent their earnings on NFTs? Crazy MFs. Shout out to Golden Child. Yeah, I was not big into NFTs. I had a lot of people who made a lot of money in NFTs. I was not big into NFTs. I was always in the charts, right? I'd always say this with crypto, right? Like, you want to find your edge and stick with your edge, right? Like, there's a lot of shiny objects in crypto, and like, if I were to start trading NFTs like in a super extreme way, like, it would take a lot of the focus away of an edge that I've already spent so many years building, that I've already, able to make money with. So it is, yeah, it's like you want to stay focused on that one edge. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, right? Because then you're just basically like half-hearting multiple things, and you're never really going to get true rewards from something like that. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Nathan, said R.I.P. Ozzy Osbourne. Is that real? I saw that happen, but people on the internet are always like R.I.P. Joe Rogan in the comments for no reason. But yeah, I think that is true. R.I.P. Ozzy, absolute legend, man. Monkey pictures for millions. Yeah, shout out to Simano. That's insane. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in here, guys, into some. Let's go ahead and jump on into, what should we take a look at? We'll take a look at ArcBlock. Whoa, okay, everybody calm down. We just went full screen. How'd that happen? Let's see. Is it AR? Is AR ArcBlock? Is that? How do you spell ArcBlock? I think it's ArcBlock. ABT, that's what it is. Okay. All right, so taking a look here. ArcBlock, very, very nice. Getting a crack out of its volume profile with a nice retest of the value area high. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Shout out to Lion, says, Frankie, I started with a small portfolio, 1K, and now I'm consistently winning. How can I scale in more money responsibly? Shout out to Lion. I mean, I don't know if you're doing that like leverage trading like we do, or if you're doing it with the just buying spot bags. Just naturally as you grow that portfolio, you're gonna get that exponential gain. But I mean, I tell people when it comes to like day trading, it really depends on where you are in your journey. If you're already making money, what you could do, I mean, there's a couple different routes you can go, right? You could either just invest more of your own money if you don't have any extra money to invest. I mean, low-key, what I did, right, was I just picked up a second job, and I would just use that money to learn how to trade back in the day, right? I would work that job, dump that money into an account, and then blow it every time. Let's be real. But if you're already making money, like just kind of take a portion of your paycheck, or maybe even like get another little side gig, right? Work on the nights, and just take that money from that one job and just kind of funnel it into your trading account to help it grow over time, kind of like boosting up your just exponential growth of the account. Or you could go for something like a funded account. I don't have a ton of experience on funded accounts. They weren't as popular when I was learning. Good Lord, I wish they were. But that's another way you could do it without risking your own money, is funded accounts. Just make sure you use someone that's reputable. I know there's some shady ones out there, but just make sure I don't have any real recommendations because I don't really have much experience with them. But yeah, that's another way that you can do it without risking your own money, which is really nice. But looking at ArcBlock here, getting obviously we came back down here to this is actually an old golden pocket. Funny enough, it actually did wind up, even after this next rip to the upside, you wound up respecting that golden pocket perfectly, which is kind of weird. But we did get this drop. It's dropped down to support after getting a full rotation of the profile. Deviation below. At that point, you're looking at this value area low at 72 cents as your doorway to higher prices. You get back in, and then you look for this to go to the POC next and the value area high. You actually got a full, mega candle there right to the value area high. You cooled off, hit the POC, and then finally went for the breakout of the range. So right now, and this is the same strategy, guys. This is the same exact thing. Not that I trade, I don't trade every single altcoin that we look at. But when you look at this, right, it's the same strategy that I looked at, right? The same strategy that I use to get into this position right here, right? And that is just simply using a volume profile to identify when price is undervalued and where you can look for long positions to then have it rotate the profile to an area of overvalue, right? And then this is where you could potentially look for shorts. Now, in this specific context here, with our 2-day money flow about to cross over into the green, I don't know how likely it is for you to get that next full rotation to the downside, right? Context is always going to be king. But honestly, with the 2-day money flow coming up here, I would say once you get that crossover, maybe you get a little turbulence, but overall, that trend to the upside is likely to continue if you can get that crossover into the green. So for ArcBlock, all eyes on that money flow crossover into the green. VWAP starting to roll back over to the downside, so that 2-day red dot might be able to give you a little bit of a drop. Taking a look at the daily here, daily VWAP also coming down, but money flow headed in the right direction. And essentially, when you have these VWAPs coming down, indicating that you're going to get a red dot, you might get a little confused, saying like, well, hey, if you're getting a red dot, like, why are you looking for a big move up? And it all comes down to the difference between the red dots and the money flow, right? Like, if you have money flow coming up, right, the trending to the upside, say that's your zero line, this would indicate the trend will continue up, right? It doesn't account for the ebbs or flows to the downside, right? You can get corrections, but overall, the overall trend will continue up. So, again, we can cool off here. Maybe you test the value area high. Maybe you come back down to test some Fibonacci levels, which I'm sure you have one right on that line that I just drew. There it is, Golden Pocket 786, right? So I would actually draw this as my next level of support, right? You have your Golden Pocket value area high confluence, and then you have that 786 sitting just below, which is also right in line with the structural highs here. So if you did get a cool off, I would look at the value area high at about 88 cents as your first key level to put a higher low in at. If not, you can go down towards that 786. That, this is obviously going to be a zone. It does sit between about 89 and 82 cents. Once you lose that 786, I'd be looking down towards the point of control, sitting at about $77. I almost said 77,000. So that's what I'd be looking at on Arc Block. Looks like it is barely, just following along with everything else. 2-day money flow, daily money flow, it's lagging a little bit behind. But again, that big level to get above, in my opinion, would be to get a move back up to this value area low that we previously rejected, sitting at about $1.35. That would be your next major doorway to higher prices, but you probably have a little bit of a journey to get up there. So these are what I'd be looking at for Arc Block. I would say as far as Market Cypher B looks, it looks very similar to everything else that we've watched. Let's see. 120K, we back, baby. Let's go. 121. Let's go. 120, 100. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I don't hate it. We'll see if we can push back up into this resistance level. Again, daily MPOC sitting at about 100 and... where is actual Bitcoin chart here? Daily MPOC does sit at about 124.64, 124.80, we'll call it. That would be the next confluent level of resistance. And again, guys, I actually didn't pull up the heat maps here. I showed these on the market update. Okay, everybody calm down. What the heck is going on here? Let me pull this up. 1 week, right? So I actually talked about this on the market update, but we do actually, come on. There we go. Up here, $121,000. We do have a hot spot of liquidity, and we, already kind of pushed up to take that liquidity above here at about 120,400. But that next hot spot of liquidity really does, sit above these highs at about $121,100, right? And that is right above these highs, 120. Where's it at? 121, 100, right? So we do have some liquidity sitting up here as well. And we always say, equal highs, liquidity resides, right? So you might have some liquidity up here, which could lead, if you are able to come up and attack those highs, get a little sweep of that liquidity, you might get one of those little liquidation wicks. So just be aware of that. But this is going to be that next key level of resistance, sitting between 121,686 and $120,354. So we took a look at Arc Block. Let's see. SEI. Yeah, let's take a look at SEI. A lot of people looking for SEI. I will jump into that real quick as well. Actually, let me drop this into our... I actually have a SEI on here now. All right, so let's take a look here. This is not the SEI chart that I want. There's the SEI chart that I want. Okay, so yeah, SEI, we've been keeping an eye on this, guys. We've been keeping an eye on this, approaching the value area low of our previous range. You have one area of value down here. Once you impulse out of that value area, price is very likely to seek out the fair value. Price is always seeking fair value. So when you get, and to be clear, fair value is pretty much inside the ranges. This is fair value. This is fair value. Right? So when you get an impulse, right, when you get a trend or an impulse to the upside, that is imbalance. When price goes into imbalance, it is always going to seek out the fair value. They're like magnets. This is why we're able to call for the flips of support on the value area low for the full fill of that range. That's why that works so well, because price is seeking out that fair value. In this particular case, your POC of the range at 35 cents is very close to the value area low, which means that if you hold on to this value area, if you come above this value area low, really the level to flip to support is the POC. When these are close together, I actually look at the POC as the doorway to higher prices rather than the value area low. So when you hold above this POC at 35 cents, this is where I would look for a push back up. We do have a high volume node here. It is not the POC of the range, which is very interesting to me. Very likely you'll see the POC of the range sit in the middle of the range like this. for whatever reason, the PLC is down here, but we do have another high volume node. You can kind of think of this as like a form of a POC. So, if we hold that POC, I will be looking to come up to this high volume node at 45 cents, flip that 45 cent POC or high volume node. I will be looking at the value area high at 72 cents. Now, again, when we take a look at some of these higher time frames, you got your 2-day red dot confirmed. Didn't really give us much of a drop down, but you have your 3-day red dot printing. You have your 4-day red dot about to print. You have your 5-day VWAP coming down. So again, that turbulence, these pullbacks could be potential, right, or likely. So just watch out for the 4-day red dot, and that 3-day red dot printing gave you a cool off. But your local level of support would be the value area low at 32 cents. And then I would say, like, even another lower level of support I would look at is going to be, I'm actually going to take this purple box off because I think we all know that's resistance. But yeah, like this is your doorway to higher prices. POC, doorway to higher prices. I know doorway is one word. Somebody pointed that out, and I was like, you're right. It is one word, but it's like, I don't know. It's not as fun to write. I don't know. I just do it like syllable-wise. But anyway, when we look at this, right, you do have the golden pocket, local golden pocket 786. So I would kind of look at this as like a big zone. Right, so you have the value area low, the golden pocket to 786. I would kind of look at it like this. This is sitting between about 32 cents and 27 cents. This could be an area to look at. If you do get a pullback, you might want to hold that higher low for a bigger move up through the profile and then potentially push up into that POC at 46 cents. If you wind up losing that 786, again, this is also confluent with like retesting these highs. So I actually do really like that level of support. But if you break below that 786, this value area high at 24 cents is going to be key because if you get stuck underneath there, you might be able to fill that range in full once more, which would be a much more bearish scenario in my opinion. But if we pull our fib from the high to the low, you can see we do have a little bit of, I'll even mark these out just generally, right? That's your first zone. Second zone would be value area high golden pocket. Last zone would probably be the 786 POC. As long as we can hold that 786 technically at about 18 cents, it still might, you lose that 786, I'm looking for a crack of the lows. But if you hold it, you could potentially get some kind of like scary correction to come in, right? Put in a higher low and a higher high, holding that trend to the upside. We'll have to see what happens. But these are all plausible areas of support to be looking at. So yeah, there you go. Most locally, I would be looking between 32 and 27 cents. And then hopefully we don't have to deal with this range down here again. That would be very nice to just like completely avoid coming down here because it's much less scary, much less time consuming, and we can just continue to cook to the upside. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on SEI. And then again, daily money flow, 3-day money flow crossover into the green. That's very nice. We've already gotten the 2-day money flow crossover indicating the continuation up, which obviously has worked out perfectly here. That 3-day money flow crossover might be another very, very, very bullish sign. Let's see. Bada boom. Let's see here. Shout out to D Knight said, when did you enter Pengu? Around 0.01 or below was a good entry. After that, no. Shout out to D Knight. I don't know if you're talking to me or probably somebody in the chat. Bear Moon coming up. Shout out to David. We actually talked about the moon cycles in the premium Discord recently. As you guys know, I am not a big, I am definitely not a huge, I'm not a big moon cycle guy. Obviously, the price does not move based off the moon. I don't know. Somebody explained to me why it actually works that way. I don't know a lot about them. I did do this, though. I did backtest them, and I was actually pretty shocked with how well it worked. But not something I would ever trade based off of. But I'm not going to lie. When I backtested it, I forget what the actual things are, like whatever, full moon, pump, or whatever it is. When I backtested it, it hit pretty good. It hit pretty good. Now, I'm not trading based off that, but I was pretty impressed by how much it hit. And someone did explain to me, like, the real technical reason why it actually works. But, yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens. I don't want to fade it too hard because, like I said, I did backtest it. It's not that bad. Let's see. Let's see. I think you could take a look at Solana on the short term. Shout out to David. So yeah, Solana on the short term. I mean, listen, after a move up like this is very hard to, this is not really an area where I am personally looking for trades unless, I mean, yeah, it's you're in the middle of the profile. I mean, you could probably find out some like local, like hyper local levels to look at. I mean, actually, if I had to do it here, probably say like, I don't know, you got a little value right here. It might be getting stuck up in this thing. Let's check it. And that's how you do it, guys. Live on the live stream. Value area low. Where's that POC? Let me actually just mark out these levels real quick. Value area high, POC, value area low, right? So we'll come on down to a lower time frame. You have your value area low. You flip that to support. You go to your POC, and now you get above your POC. You try to get to your value area high. Trying to get to the value area high. So yeah, I would say like locally, I would be looking at this 206 value area high. It's a very hyper local volume profile. I wouldn't put like super amount of weight on it. This is not really an area like when you have like a big move like this. For me personally, the trades are to be had, right? When we talk about looking for the big moves to the upside, right? Like, so for me personally, the last big trade on Solana really was to be had down here at the value area low. And we obviously were looking at this level, talking about the potential of not only the bounce through this range, but also the idea of putting in a low, a high, a higher low, and then breaking structure of the upside. So if I were in a Solana trade here, I would just be sitting there enjoying my gains to the upside. This is not a place where I would necessarily be looking for a trade. And there's a reason for that, right? It's so much more stressful, right? It's much easier to look for the long positions as price is dumping to the downside into key support rather than looking for a long position as price is just grinding to the upside, because you could be getting in right before the drop. So if I were to look for anything here, it would have to be a short position. But with the lack of key levels in here, we don't really have a major level of resistance. So I wouldn't really necessarily be interested in a short position in the middle of no man's land here, right? It's either longs at the value area low or shorts at the value area high, or even the POC would be a better place to look for a short rather than just like in the middle of the profile. So for me personally, I would just be letting this cook. It's not that it can't pull back. It's just very hard to find a level that you would be reacting off of, right? And I don't believe we really have anything here. I could try to pull up. All right, so we did have a daily level here that we just broke above. We could check the daily MPOCs. We already cracked above that. Weekly MPOC, you can see we've already flipped that to support. Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, there's not, monthly MPOC. We flipped that to support as well. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is, I'm not saying you can't come down, but there's just no real setup in my opinion. So yeah, I would either be waiting patiently for a pullback, for an entry on a dump, for a move back up, or a push to the upside to at least come up to the POC to look for a short position. This is just, for me personally, not a place where I'd be looking for a trade. So there you go. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Vegas Claw, said Frankie needs a giraffe water jet. What is a giraffe water jet? Shout out to Vegas Claw. What the heck is a giraffe water jet? You're my man. Thank you. Shout out to David M. No problemo, bro. That's what I'm here for. Shout out to Hastronaut, says, yup, I 20x long Solana at $146. Took 50% off at the doorway to higher prices. Now I have a zero risk trade. That's up 760% today. Shout out to Hastronaut. Let's go, baby. That $146 level right near that POC. Right before the breakout of the head and shoulders, you take a little profit on resistance and you hold that moon bag. And I'll be honest, bro, you're holding that moon bag right as you're entering into that value area. Oh, man, that's a nice shot there, bro. I would, next targets for me personally in that position would be the POC and the value area high of the range. Let's go. And he's using the volume profiles. Let's go. Shout out to Hastronaut. Congratulations, bro. Let's see. Cardano. Yes, let's. Vegas Call said Frankie's the type of guy to wear mittens when taking. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Frankie, the kind of guy to wear mittens to take out the trash. That is hilarious, bro. Let's see. Yeah, XLM, and I'll take a look at XLM, and I'll take a look at XLM Pangu. Shout out to D Knight, says thoughts on the Fed meeting, Frankie. I don't expect rate cuts this month. Is my expectation, right? Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we get a surprise. But for me personally, I wouldn't be expecting rate cuts July. Hopefully September. Hopefully if we start pushing past September, we're gonna get into a pretty sticky situation. I'm late to school. How are the short volumes above ETH? Shout out to Matt. Shout out to Matty Q. Maybe we'll take a look at the liquidation heat map on Ethereum as well. But where's my notebook? My handy dandy notebook. All right, we're gonna take a look at Cardano. We're gonna take a look at Pangu, and we'll take a look at Sui, and then we'll see where that brings us in the stream. So real quick, we'll take a look at Cardano. You know, I've covered this many a times, guys, and I'm probably going to drop some pre-recorded videos here on Cardano as well. I mean, guys, if we look at this, as you know, daily money flow crossover into the green was happening with this at the same time as our 2-week green dot last week, right? This is a very bullish market cipher B strategy on a very high time frame. We also had the 2-day money flow crossover into the green that was indicating the continuation to the upside. You can see we've retested the value area high to push back into the low. Once you flip that low to support, you look to go to the POC and the high. We're tapping on the door here, guys. Doorway to higher prices, tapping on the door. Doorway to higher prices, tapping on the door. Doorway to higher prices, tapping on the door. Next target, POC, $1.21. POC, $1.21. I want to say that multiple times because every time we look at this, it's like, oh my God, guys, look, it happened, right? So I want everybody to understand this. Now, again, it does not mean that you have to come up here right now. But when we look at the lower time frames, you know, again, daily red dot is printing. If we come on down here to the 80 and 90-minute money flow, honestly kind of flat, to be honest. Not really doing anything here. We're kind of just trending up and down. 80-minute is actually scooting to the upside. So watch that daily red dot. They haven't really given us big moves down on anything else, but you also do have that 2-day red dot potentially incoming. You have the 3-day red dot potentially incoming, and in strong uptrends like this, sometimes those red dots can either just give you slight pullbacks or even a little bit of sideways consolidation before breaking higher. So I would just say you are tapping on the door to higher prices. Break 90 cents, hold it as support. Next stop is very likely the POC. You can see how perfectly this played out here. You break above the value area low, you flip it to support, you go directly into the POC. Absolutely beautiful. Then we came back down, lost the range, retest the high, back to the POC, retest the high, back to the value area low, retest the high, and now we're here again. But what did we have happen on here on this last retest? This last retest, money flow was coming to the downside. Now we have money flow starting to cook to the upside on the 3-day. So this is going to take some time to develop here, but watch that 3-day money flow. Taking a look at the weekly. Weekly money flow also headed in the right direction. The ones that have already crossed over, obviously the 2-day and that daily time frame. So, you know, at this point with the daily and the 2-day money flow crossovers into the green, I have to anticipate higher lows and higher highs to flip the value area low to support and then target the POC of the range. That's what I'm looking at on Cardano. I feel pretty good about this. You have a very, very large range above. I mean, even from the value area low to the value area high is 100% pump. It's very nice to see. That's not considering that you could push into the golden pocket for 130% or even into the 786 for about 180%. So very, very nice to see. And then at that point, the 786 here at $2.48 is the doorway to higher prices. That's what I'd be looking at for a bigger breakout. That's what I'm looking at. Nice to see here. Turbulence is likely. Money flow is heading in the right direction. Higher lows and higher highs are to be expected. Lackluster pullbacks with bigger pumps to the upside. Until we see something change. If something changes, I'll be the first person to let you know. Let's see. Shout out to Black Haze. Says, Frankie, are the likes frozen? I can't see them going up. Smash that like button on the count of 3, guys. Let's run it up. Let's see what we have. We got 384 likes. We got over 1,000 people in here. Let's go from 384 to 550. If we hit 550 in the next, I got to get the timer here. If we hit 550 likes in the next minute, I will drop some Frankie Candles merch for the giveaway this Friday. We're going to do it. And if we had 1,000 likes, somehow, we got 1,000 people in here. I'm sure there's enough people to smash the like button. If we get $1,000, I'll give away $200 in Solana, just like we did last week. So let's continue on. Smash that like button. Everybody hit it at the same time. Glitch this thing back up to 550. And if you don't do it for me, do it for Black Haze. If you don't do it for Black Haze, do it for the free value. Let's see. Shout out to Seth Shepard. Said, Frankie's bullish on ADA. Life is good. Let's go. Shout out to Seth Shepard. I do hold some ADA. It's not my biggest bag, but I do hold some ADA. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Akbari. Shout out to you, man. All right, let's go ahead. That was Cardano, as everybody knows. Let's go ahead and check out Pengu making absolute rips to the upside, guys. Look at this thing. Look at this thing, guys. This thing is cooking. This thing is cooking, guys. Shout out to Pengu, man. This is quite the rip to the upside from the April lows. And this is why, guys, you don't want to get scared at the wrong time. From the April lows to the current high, we are up on Pengu. That is a minute. Pengu is up 1,100% from the April lows. That is an insane amount of gain. This is the only asset class where you can get this type of return in this little time. From the low to the high in 104 days, you have gone up 1,100%. And even if you caught the retracement here, you are up 481% in the last month. That's like just think about that on like even a $10,000 leveraged position, right? There's not a ton of margin that you need to get to that position size on leverage in 30 days. 481% on $10,000 position. And again, that is like a very feasible number for a lot of people. Pretty crazy. I'm not personally in a trade on Pangu. I do own some Pangu, which is very nice to see. But, every time I see big moves up like this, it just really does amaze me with crypto, like how much you can make in so little time. 104 days is nothing to make 1,100%, guys. People wait a year for like 6 to 8% in the stock market year over year. 1,100. I remember when I first got into crypto and I was telling like older folk, or not older folk, but like people who invested in stocks, like I'm telling them like the gains that we're getting. And they're just like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, it's up 700%. And they're like, that's impossible, dude. I get 8% a year. And I'm like, you're living in the Stone Age, dude. Magic internet money will make you rich. And they're like, you're going to get scammed. And, well, they were partially right. I've never, actually, no. Hang on a second, guys. I've never gotten scammed on a coin. I've never bought a SafeMoon was a rug pull. But technically, it's still in profit because I bought it so soon. I should, honestly, I'll be honest. I don't even know if I'll be able to get into my SafeMoon wallet. Hopefully, it doesn't go back up because I don't know if I have access to that. So I guess technically I have gotten scammed. But they didn't take my money. They just turned my $100 to $15K and then turned it back to like $200. So I'm still up $100 last time I checked. Could be at zero at this point. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Akbari. Says, dude, you are one of the best crypto analysts I've ever seen. Thanks for this amazing content. Shout out to Akbari. I am here every weekday, baby. Shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate you. And yeah, we're here every weekday, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see. Shall we? I think he meant Pangu. Hawkar says, I don't know how to say that name, says, shall we sell Pangu? It was just, I think that says, or wait more. I mean, listen, if you're up 1,100%, I mean, there's never a bad time to take profit, especially when you're this up, right? But, I mean, listen, if you wanted to go into new all-time highs, we'll maybe I'll make a video on Pangu as well, looking at all-time highs. But, I mean, you haven't even broken the all-time high yet. We're kind of just back at those previous highs at about, 4 cents. You are also coming into resistance, right? You've come up to that golden pocket retracement. We actually have been looking at this level forever. This is your Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low. And it's like, even if you get a little golden pocket retracement, that's that 1,100% return, right? 786 is a little bit more. But, like, when you're buying things this low, right, you don't even need it to go into all-time highs to get those crazy gains. Insane. Shout out to anybody who holds Pangu. I actually like Pangu as a project. I think it'll do well. But, yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on Pangu, right? You have the daily money flow crossover into the green. You do have a little bit of a daily green dot printing there, 2-day green dot printing as well, 3-day red dot looking to print. So, yeah, 3-day red dot looking to print, 4-day red dot looking to print, 16-hour bearish divergence. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a little cool off here. But, yeah, this thing is cooking. Shout out to anybody holding Pangu. But as far as money flow goes, I mean, this is all headed in the right direction. Cool-offs are likely, but money flow would indicate higher lows and higher highs. Shout out to Nana. Thank you for the super chat. Said, back again. Could you give XVG a look? Yes, I will take a look at XVG. Quick reminder, guys, I will not be taking requests from super chats. Only in the free chat. You do not need to super chat. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to look at the super chats if they have altcoins in them. So please, if you request altcoins, please drop them in the free chat. We would appreciate it. And save some money. But anyway, let's see. We're going to take a look at Sui real quick. We took a look at Sui yesterday. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend on this. Let's take a look. Bada boom. Bada bing. Let's take a look at Sui. All right. So here we are. When did this happen? That happened on Friday. Okay. Let me just... Okay. Let's take a look. I mean, same thing as yesterday. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, guys, because we looked at this yesterday. I'm going to take this fib off the chart. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, actually? I'll just leave this for now. This golden pocket, right? This is the level. Once you get above this golden pocket, guys, very high probability that you're going to push into the 786. Once you get above that golden pocket, you're looking to go into the 786. Once you get above the POC and you flip it to support, you look to go to the value area high. Where's the value area high? Right in conflict with the 786. So I would say right now, I mean, you crack this high, I'm looking right up here to about 455, right? Between 454 and 455, right? Call it 455 for easy math. That's what I'm looking at, right? Simple Fibonacci volume profile analysis. Break the low, go to the POC. Flip the POC. Eventually, you're looking to go to your value area high. When you come up to your golden pocket, you expect a rejection. Once you break above it, you're looking to go to the 786. Very, very clear move. Let's take a look at the daily time frame. Green dot looking to potentially print here on SUI with a money flow crossover into the green as well. This is a look at that. You're getting the money flow crossover. You're getting the VWAP to potentially look to cross over into the green. So I would say this still looks pretty good. And it looks kind of similar to Bitcoin in the fact that you could put in a daily bearish divergence, which would actually call for a break of this high, which means you might be able to come up and tap that level. So I would, to the upside, be watching 45 cents, almost 40, yeah, about 45 cents, 46 cents. And then to the downside, I would really like to hold that 786 at $4.50, not 45 cents, guys. $4.53 up to about $4.58. If you go to the downside, I will be watching this 786 as a major key level at $3.50. If we come down here and lose that 786, value area low is your biggest key level of support at 308. You don't want to lose that, right? As you are accepted into this volume profile, you go from the low into the POC. Your hope here is to hold above the POC and go to the high. If you lose the POC, you could bounce off the golden pocket. But if you lose that, bounce off the 786. If you lose the 786, I would be inclined to look at the value area low. We'll cross that bridge when we get there because there's going to be other local levels we can look at. But when we look at it just from a Fibonacci and volume profile perspective, hold the POC, doorway to the value area high is open. Lose this 786, doorway to the value area low is open. Simply put, break that golden pocket, send it to the value area high. Green dot on the daily might be the thing to do it, especially with the potential of printing that daily bearish divergence into that next target. So we'll see what happens here. Take a look at some of the lower time frames. Yeah, I mean, nothing really to take away here from the 4-hour. It looks like you might want to pop above that golden pocket. I'm not going to lie. 8-hour green dot printing, 30-minute money flow in the green. Yeah, we'll let that cook. We'll let that cook. Crack this high. I'm looking up there. Come back down. You don't want to lose that 786 at $3.51. Let's see. Tau. We could take a look at Tau. Let me see here. Shout out to Spiritual Tradie Podcast, I think is the name of his name. But shout out to you, man. He says, first he said, my candle is long, hard, and blue. For you, Frankie. Shout out to Spiritual. But he also said, random facts, in 2021, Bitcoin dominance topped out 100 days before BTC topped, and BTC did a 2x after dominance topped. Let's go. Shout out to Spiritual Podcast. I think that's the name of it. Or Spiritual, I don't know. Spiritual Tradie Podcast. It cuts off your name. But yeah, that is what, interesting. A 2x from Bitcoin on here, 250K, almost 240K. I hope. That would be nice. That would be on the upper, super upper end of my targets, but definitely not impossible. Shout out to Alpha Cry. I think that, why are all these names cut off so soon? I think that's Alpha Cry. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Said, Floki looking strong AF, bro. Thanks for the accurate call on it. I am still long. Shout out to Alpha Cry. Let's go, baby. Shout out to you, man. Bing bong. There we go. Throw a few 20s for you, bro. Let's get it. Shout out to Alpha Cry. Congratulations, bro. I just do the TA. You pulled the trigger. You managed the trade. So pat yourself on the back, man. F and Dollar said, Frankie, can you take a look at Meta? Went short on July 14th. What are your thoughts? Shout out to F and Dollars and Nana who wants to see XVG. We'll try to take a look at those for you guys. Absolutely. Let's see. Hey, shout out to Mrs. B. Shout out to Mrs. B. Said, hey, Frankie, again. Shout out to you. Let's see. Sizzle said Frankie with the Diddy quotes is crazy, man. Let's see. Shout out to Jessica in the chat. What is going on, Jessica? Welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Scott. Shout out to Scott says, I went short on Crow after a huge pump and still got wrecked. Shout out to Scott Watson. Well, let us know. Why did you take the trade? Let us know the confirmations that you saw. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I do like a segment, not a live stream segment, maybe like a pre-record segment where you guys like send me trades and I kind of review them, winners or losers. But yeah, let's continue on. All right, so let's take a look at. We took a look at Sui. Let's take a quick look at XVG. Haven't looked at Verge in a long time. Let's see. What is this? This is the Binance chart. Just trying to get the most price history here. No, that's not what I want. Guess we'll have to look at the Binance chart. All right. Well, what I can look at here, something like this. I'm going to keep this range. Got your value area high, or your value area low, your POC, and your value area high. Let's take a look here. 2-day red dot is looking to print. I mean, this all looks the same, guys. I'm not going to lie. 2-day red dot's printing, either printing or about to print on almost every single altcoin. All the money flow is coming into the green, which indicates ebbs or flows to the downside for higher lows and higher highs, right? Like, this is the general scenario on most altcoins, right? Unless they look totally different. So I'm not going to cover that. All this looks the same, as you can see. Daily red dot is printing. Let's check that 90-minute money flow. 90-minute money flow in the green, so a little bit of a mixed signal there. So let me just take a little bit of a larger view of this. I mean, you're at your value area high. This is resistance, but at the end of the day, you know, I would say if you can impulse out of this range, I would probably be looking at this local profile above, sitting between about 0.016 and 0.011. You have your value area low, your POC, your value area high. So, yeah, I mean, I would say, like, you do have your quick drop down here, right? Fast drop down oftentimes leads to a fast move up, right? And then once you get up here, this is your doorway to higher prices. Sitting at about 0.011. So, if you can get above this value area low, that's your next shot to the upside. That's all I'm going to give, right? I'm not going to cover every single level. Actually, there's not really much else to look at to the upside other than this little volume profile up here. You could actually even look at this volume profile right here, which would be a little bit more local, probably, but I'm not going to give every single level. Yeah, so, I mean, you do have, like, two profiles. You have one right here, and then it is leading you right into that upper one, but I'm not going to look at that previous one. You might get some turbulence up here based off that profile that I just drew, but typically fast moves down lead to quick moves up. And then, yeah, I would say, you know, 0.0115 is going to be the big level to look at. Flip this to support. POC value area high is likely. Once you get out of there, you could start pushing up to some higher levels, which we'll cross when we get there. But this is what I'd look at. I mean, you're at resistance, but the nice thing is this resistance could push you, once you break out, into this upper profile, which would be very nice to see. Value area high resistance is sitting at 0.008130. If you want to get that on your chart, POC does sit down here at about 0.0033, and then your value area low at 0.0024. Right? I don't know if I'd be expecting to come all the way back down here. We've already broken out, retested the POC, and hopefully we're working our way up. And with the way money flow looks, right, even if you get resistance here on the value area high, right, it would be more likely to put in higher lows and higher highs, in my opinion. So there we go. That's what I'd be looking at on Verge. I haven't even heard of Verge in so long. Let's see. Shout out to Tim. Says, can you take a look at COQ? Yeah, hopefully this thing comes back to life. And, yeah, it's not dead yet. It's not dead yet. I'm not going to do a super in-depth analysis on this, but I do hold this. As you guys know, I think I bought this on stream as like a joke. Maybe. I don't really remember when I bought it or how I bought it. I feel like we did something on stream with it. But no, I would have gotten canceled if I bought it on stream. You never pull out, you know, your COQ. But anyway, taking a look here. Value area low, POC, value area high. I mean, you're just cooking. The next major level to pay attention to is going to be sitting right here, right? So I'll just give you that value area low, 99.59. That's the level to break above in order to start coming back into your fair value. And it wouldn't be not only until we got in here that I would expect higher prices, but if you really want this thing to blast off, we got to get out of that value area high. And again, this is a meme coin. Maybe if AVAX pumps, we could see COQ start to I don't know, stand up. But, you know, once we get that, you know, that's where you could potentially start looking for all-time highs. But, you know, again, this is the meme coin. It's very risky. I do own it. It's not because I have some secret information that it's going to pump. I have nothing to do with this coin. I kind of bought it because I was bullish on AVAX coins. And it was nice at first, and then we just wound up getting the altcoin bear market. So we'll see if we can get back above that 9959 level. Once you get above that, you can start targeting about 15,021, 15021 at the POC. Value area high sits at 28481. Very hard to not mess up those numbers, so please screenshot those and double-check them yourselves. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Skizzle, says, how can Frankie stay so professional when reading his chat? Shout out to Skizzle. It's not easy, bro. It's not easy. I try to keep it pretty family friendly. But my COQ went to 0. It fell over and died. Shout out to the tougher stuff. Shout out to the tougher stuff. Let's see. About to short Ondo quickly. Let's check out Ondo real quick. Take a sip of that black coffee. What's Bitcoin doing? 123.64. Come on, Biddy. Push into that daily MPOC. You could do it. Come on. You could do it. We'll put an alert here. Let's see. What is that? 124.80. Come on, Biddy. You can do it. I think you can do it. 124.80. Oh, no, this is going to work. Yeah, 124.80 up. 3K now on the long. Not too bad. Come on, Malware Bytes. Leave me alone. Yeah, we'll see if this thing continues to cook. Not too shabby. Oh, and it's going to 0, guys. I lost all my money. It's all gone. If you guys want to donate to my my food donation bucket, it will be in the back of the room when you guys leave to grab your coats. But let's see here. Link just bounced off the 200 moving average on the 15-minute chart. Bullish. Shout out to Scott Watson. Let's go, baby. But let's go ahead and jump on in here to Ondo. Ondo cooking, bro. Ondo is cooking. Absolutely cooking. As you guys know, on Ondo, what we have been looking at here, as I think we've looked at Ondo almost every day this week, or every day last week as well. Here's your local value area. Now, again, just to be clear here, guys, right? The overall anticipation here for Ondo is get into that value area low, hold it as support, go into the POC, flip the POC, start your journey into the value area high. This volume profile is only there to identify where you may get a little bit of turbulence. We came up, value area low, POC, rejection, back in, lost a little bit, flipped it to support. We go up to the value area high. We bing bong around. We flip that value area high to support, and now this thing is cooking to the value area high. Next target on Ondo, very clearly here, would be 120. Why can I not read the numbers today, guys? This is insane. But if we, the next major target would be sitting at $1.22. Not 122, $1.22 at the value area high. And again, it's just a part of that longer term scenario, right? I mean, how long ago was this? This was not at the value area low very long ago. This was in June, obviously, right? And we bing-bonged around throughout July, continued up, right? And we came up here, and now we are cooking. If you learn anything from me, guys, please, for the love of God, learn the volume profiles. There is so much money to be made here, not only on these massive moves on altcoins. This was a 84% pump to the upside. This is why we do not get bullish at the lows. We don't get bearish at the lows. We get bullish when everybody else is looking for 0. We know what signs to look for. We know how to read the money flow. We know how to understand the volume profiles, and we know that fill from the value area low to the POC to the value area high is a very high probability move. And here we are, just once again, on the 50th altcoin, about to fill that profile. Absolutely perfect. $1.22. Next target to the upside. That's what I'd be looking at. Once you cook above there, we can start to work into these levels, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Very, very nice. All the signs on Market Cypher B are identical to everything else. Money flow crossing into the green, higher lows, higher highs if we get the pullbacks. So there we go. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Wick589 said Phoebe gets all the open mouth all the open mouth kisses that she wants. Good Lord. All right, calm down, Phoebe. Calm down. Phoebe's in heat right now. Anyway, let's continue on. Let's take a look at we took a look at Verge. We took a look at Ondo. Let's take a quick look at Meta because I think F and Dollars asked us to look at that. Let's take a look here. Just make sure. Okay, so yeah, not a big stock guy, to be honest. I mean, obviously, this thing is just absolutely. I mean, I'll do some market cipher B analysis. I'm not going to pull all the key levels or anything like that. Maybe I'll pull up something significant. I'm not going to pull up every level. You got your weekly red dot confirmed. What's your monthly doing? Monthly VWAP curving down. 6-day red dot printing. Honestly, it doesn't look that much different than crypto as far as market cipher B goes, right? 2-day green dot looking to print. Money flow in the green. Yeah, I mean, what I could do is I'll give you some targets to the upside. If you do get another pop up there, these are the April lows. I will pull the extension targets. What are we sitting at now? 705. So I'd probably be looking up here. This is a macro target, I would say. This does sit between about 801 and 848. I mean, listen, you do have this 6-day red dot printing. You have a fresh weekly red dot confirmed. 2-week red dot looking to print. So, yeah, a little hard to call direction on this, to be honest. The market cipher B moves a lot slower on stocks. But if you do get another move up, I'd watch about 802. If you get a move to the downside, I would say like your biggest levels of support to watch here on Meta. Feels dirty to be looking at stocks as a crypto channel, but what are we going to do? I guess we're a candle channel, though. We can look at whatever we want, technically. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd expect a big drop down, but, I mean, you do have really, really, really important support here. Whoops. You do have really important support here at the golden pocket, about 580. I'm not saying you have to come all the way back down there. Let me pull this. Yeah, I mean, you just retested the 786 here, so I'll just draw out this support here. Locals, this is very local support. Sitting at about 692 to 705. Lose this, I'm probably going to just look at a bigger. Yeah, I would just watch this major golden pocket 786. You're hitting local support, but again, there are some signs on market cipher B on the higher time frames that you can continue to cool off. So I would watch the golden pocket 786 sitting between 677 and 657 with that anchored VWAP confluence. If you can get the anchored VWAP to continue up with it, or continue up as price comes down. But yeah, the market cipher B moves very slowly on the stocks like this, but these would be some levels that I would be paying attention to on the way back down, and we'll see how it develops. There's literally no volume profile to pull it all here, just based off the shape of the structure. But these would be some local levels. You know, you lose this 786 here at 693, I'd be looking down here. Lose the 786 at 656. Probably going to get a much bigger move down. But I would say 580 is like a huge level of support. Again, I don't know if you would be anticipating that or not. I don't have my thumb on the pulse of how these stocks move like I do on crypto, right? On crypto, it's like I've been looking at crypto so long that like I could almost tell you like, you know, what it's going to look like on the way down. But for stocks, it's a little bit harder for me, right? Like crypto, a drop down to, you know, a drop down from where we are now down to 580 is like not a big deal. 17%. It's like we see that in crypto all the time. Maybe on the stock, you know, probably going to be a little bit more aggressive. So I would just watch these local support levels, and then maybe we'll check on this and see what happened, right? If you get the break to the upside, you have that next target here at about 802, or just say 802.04. So there you go. Let's see. XLM. Yes, we could take a look at XLM. Yeah, let's take a look at XLM. Somebody said, can you take a look at soybean futures? I mean, we could. We could. Where can we trade soybean futures or cattle futures? Shout out to Wick589. OG of the CandleMafia says, Frankie could probably give you all the major BTC levels between 8K and 50K if you want to get ready for the bear market. Let's go. Shout out to Wick589. I'll tell you right now, big key levels between 8 and 50K. No, I don't actually think that we will... should I make a bold prediction here? Nah, maybe not. I would argue, depending on where we top out here, to be quite honest, I don't know, right? Like, if we topped out here, let's just say the all-time high came in here. Nah, I would fully expect to see 50K again. I'm just trying to see, how high we would have to go, right? Let's say we go to 150. Nah, I don't know, guys. I hate to say it. It's probably... I know it sounds crazy to say that, Bitcoin's at $120,000, that we could even see 50K from here. It's definitely possible, right? Just remember, 69K to 15K. Not a lot of people thought that was going to happen either. We also had a lot of people that were calling for 8K to 3K. But yeah, what are we cooking here? Yeah, Bitcoin just still kind of bing-bonging around up there. Yeah, shout out to Suni says this time is different. Yeah, I know. It's I mean, listen, I do think I am going to be very open, right? I always talk about the this time is different. People are wrong. They have been wrong every single time to the upside and the downside. The this time is different. People come in the bull markets and the bear markets. The bull market, they want the crazy targets. The bear market, they also want crazy targets. That's 100K last cycle, 8K last cycle, 100K last bull market, 8K last bear market. These people come around every time. This time it'll probably be 500K, 200K, whatever it is. And then to the downside, people will probably be hoping for 10K, right? Or 15K, and it'll probably never get seen again. But every time is different. Shout out to Chris. That is actually the truth. Every time is very, very similar, almost the same, but they are also different in their own right. Every cycle has its own little weird quirk. They all top out differently. They all do have a little bit of a different behavior. Yeah, if we go back down to 30K, I would buy more Bitcoin as well. And it's so funny, too, because it's every time, right, we go into a bear market, and let me just pull up XLM real quick. Every time we go into a bear market, it's it's so funny because people always talk about I know a lot of people will buy it, right? But for the most part, right, people are just man, I missed the boat at 16, 15K, right? Or not even, right? People will be oh my God, I missed the boat at $3,000 when we're up here. Then it dips back down to $3,000, and they're nah, this thing's going to zero. And then it goes up, and they're man, I missed $3,000. And then it comes back down, and they're nah, this thing's going to zero. And then it's every time, right? So it's it's so much easier said than done. And I'll say this from experience as well, right? It's it's so easy to say, oh, well, when Bitcoin comes back down into the bear market, right, it's going to be so easy for me after seeing this bull run. It's obviously it's going to repeat. And then when you get down to these levels, it's oh, my God, it's never going to go back up. I'm never buying again. And then it always goes back up. Buying the fear on Bitcoin has just literally never been a bad idea. Shout out to Wick589 said, see, if you zoom way out on the 1 year Bitcoin, on the 1 year BTC, you can clearly see the $1 million target from the way it looks funny at you. Shout out to Wick589. We got to start taking a look at the yearly chart. Okay, so let's take a look at XLM real quick. As soon as I find myself saying this time is different, I trade in the opposite direction. Shout out to Mr. B. That's actually low-key a fire. If you can actually counter trade yourself, that's actually a really fire strategy in my opinion. Anytime I've ever bought a top or sold, bought a bottom or sold a top, when I bought my bags down here, I was 100% felt like a moron. I was scared. I was oh my God, everyone's so bearish. I'm definitely buying the bottom here. I'm definitely buying the top. No, not the top, but I'm definitely buying before another massive drop. Even though I had the bullish confirmations, I DCA'd in. I stuck to my plan. I felt like an idiot and wound up feeling like a genius at the end, right? But this part is just so difficult. So difficult. And when you sell the top, right, anytime I've sold the top of anything, I don't sell the top of everything, but anytime I sell the top on anything, I'm just oh my God, I'm selling this right before it really takes off. And then it's not until later on where you're oh my God, I'm a genius. So yeah, when you start to feel like you're an idiot, if you think it's a bad idea to sell, For 90% of people, if you think it's a bad idea to buy, it's probably the time to buy. And if you think it's a bad idea to sell because you think it's going up, it's probably the best time to sell. When you start taking screenshots, that's almost dead accurate. When you take screenshots of your portfolio, sell it. That's like a really, really good, simple strategy, to be quite honest. But let's take a look at XLN real quick. XLM. Yo, shout out to Paint Earth says, can you check the Google Trends for Bitcoin 5-year? Looks like a divergence. Shout out to Paint Earth, or I said Paint Earth. Paint Earth. It's actually funny. It's kind of weird. I have found divergences in charts that have played out that were not on actual price charts. I forget what I was looking at where I was able to spot a divergence. I think it might have been Google Trends, and it actually played out. I forget exactly what it was, but I'd be trying to find bearish divergences, bullish divergences when I look at the sky. So it's pretty. It's like I'm in, go to a city or something, and I see the buildings, and I'm like, that looks like an SFP right there. That antenna just SFP'd the building next to it. That thing's gonna fall down. Anyway, let's continue on. Take a look at XLM. I'm just trying to find the chart where I actually have some TA. XLM Bybit chart? No, XLM. Coinbase, that's what we got. All right, let's take a look here. So XLM, I mean, we looked at this yesterday, guys. Nothing's changed. We're literally just still bing-bonging around between these two value areas. Very simple. Boom, boom, room is above. Doorway to higher prices, sitting at 50 cents. Flip 50 cents. I'm going to be looking up towards the Golden Pocket POC between 58 and 63 cents. Very simply put. That is what I'm looking for on XLM. Money flow on the higher time frames, daily, 2-day, all looking the same as everything else. Money flow in the green. As long as it can sustain in the green, daily kind of faked back out into the red, but it didn't get followed through by a giant dump. Simply put, doorway to higher prices. And then this is the boom boom room. Below you have the trap. Nah, you have the I don't know, doorway to lower prices. Break above here, I'm looking for a move into this level right here that I just brought up between about 58 and 63 cents. If you break back down below your doorway to lower prices, that's where you could probably get a little bit of a bigger retracement, lose the value area high at 44 cents. I could be looking down. I'm going to get rid of actually, I'll keep this anchored VWAP, but I will just hide it. I would be watching this anchored VWAP. This would be a very important level to hold to continue the trend, depending on where that comes in at. So, this anchored VWAP is pulled from the low here in June. So that would be, and this is going to develop over time. If price comes down, this will likely push to the upside. So I would watch, for the most part, within the profile, you lose this value area high. I would be looking at that anchored VWAP. I can't say where it's going to be when we come down because it's going to move. If you lose that anchored VWAP, I'm pretty much looking down towards the POC of the range. This would be the biggest area to look for a bounce in my own personal opinion. We do have the golden pocket POC confluence here. I'm actually going to drag that down to make it a little more accurate. This would be a big place to bounce. If you had to lose that point of control, you can look down here towards the weekly and daily MPOC in confluence with the 786. I would prefer to bounce off the POC because if you bounce off the 786, you are simply already traveled through 3/4 of your profile. And then once you get the push to the upside, you're running into major resistance, which could slam you down to the value area low. If we come on down to the POC, this is a common area that price, if it gets a big retracement, will come down and retest before a bigger breakout. Either way, when we look at the 2-day time frame, as long as money flow can stay in the green here, any pullbacks would still be looked at as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs to come. Hopefully, we don't have to come with the play with the golden pocket. Hopefully, we could just hold on top of that value area high or anchored VWAP. But that's what I'm looking at. Doorway to higher prices, doorway to lower prices. Upper targets, if you break above the boom boom room or the doorway to higher prices, golden pocket, POC between 58 and 63 cents. Get above that, you can start cooking up towards about 73 cents, 74 cents, up towards the 786 value area high. You're just simply between these two value areas. Don't want to break back in here for the most part. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Money flow still looks pretty good though. Let's see. 100x long BTC now. Let's go. Shout out to Jan, Oscar Diaz. Shout out to you, man. 100x long Bitcoin. 120, 120. Get a little, look at the rejection off that golden pocket. Just a little boop. Little boop. Actually, I don't think this golden pocket is pulled to the low. Hang on a second. Is this pull to the low? It was. All right, let's see. ETH is pushing. There she goes. There she goes. All right, let's see. I'll give you some local levels for ETH. Where the heck is this POC? Okay, POC directly on that value area high. So close you can't see it. But yeah, I'll give you some local levels here on ETH just because we're pushing. These are local levels, guys. Local. I mean, there you go. Broke above the value area low. I mean, to be honest, typically we'd be looking at like the POC, which would be sitting somewhere in the middle. Don't really have that, though, to be quite honest, right? That POC is literally just at that value area high. Maybe I could look at it this way. So this is what I'll do. I'll look at this profile, but I will actually take the POC from the current profile. So what I'm going to do here, grab this, mark this out as a POC, and then I will pull this back. Where'd it go? 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 Okay. All right. So above the value area low, I'd say break above this POC at 3760. You're looking at about almost 3800, 3795, 3796 at the value area high. So we'll see. Also could get a rejection off that POC as well. But, you know, for the most part, right, locally, I didn't give any local levels on Ethereum. I mean, this would be at value area low 3733, POC at 3759. Break above that, you're looking at 3797 for that next target to the upside. But 1 hour money flow, pretty cruising to the downside. 16-hour red dot, no confirmation there. Daily, no. 2-day red dot, you know, I'm still printing here. So I don't know if you're going to get the breakout here, but these will be the next local levels if we can keep pushing up. Watch that POC at 37.59, and then if we get above that value area high, 37.97 would be the next level to watch, and you do actually have a little bit of confluence here on your golden pocket POC and your 786 value area high. That would be the levels that I'd be looking at on ETH. Literally just got sidetracked and decided to pull some levels on ETH as we push up. So there we go. Shout out to Fast Easy Cash. Thank you for the super chat, bro. We said Quant is getting attention. Chart opinions, Frankie. Oh, man, we are running out of time. And again, quick reminder, guys. Only taking altcoin requests from the free chat. I will not be taking altcoin requests starting tomorrow from super chats. Ever again. Only the free chat, which is nice because you request your altcoin for absolutely free. But we will take a quick look at Quant just this one time. Let's take a look here. I mean, there you go, right? Make sure you subscribe to this channel, guys. Make sure you have notifications set for when we go live and drop market updates. Guys, if you have been subscribed to this channel for any amount of time and you have listened to any of the TA or even just looked at any of the levels or volume profiles that we've had on these charts, you would have known where we were going to get big moves to the upside, and what? Not only that, but the exact blueprint on where price would go next. Break this level, go to the POC. Expect turbulence, get above the POC, look to go to the value area high. Big old wick here, but at the end of the day, as long as you don't lose that value area low, this looks very similar to Ethereum, right? Bing bong on the POC, lose it, come down, push up to the value area high. I mean, this move has happened on so many charts, right? And a lot of them are still, you know, early, right? Some of them are just tapping in here, right? For about to start a big move. But all these moves, right? I don't remember the last time we looked at Quant. It might have not even been since back here, which the same thing happened, right? We got the full rotation back down. With deviation, back in to the high. Deviation, back in to the low. Deviation, back in to the high. Value area high 144 is the next major target on Quant. Very simply put, 3-day money flow crossing over into the green. 2-day money flow crossover daily. Everything looks the same as all the other altcoins. Money flow is in the right direction. Pullbacks will be looked at as higher lows and higher highs. Final, I would say next, not final. Next major target 144.03. And then once you break out of there, I mean, to be honest, if you pull up your VPVR, you can actually see here that you do not, come on, volume. Volume. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do it again. What the heck? Trading View trolling here. volume. There we go. You can see like the volume really does kind of fall off. Like most of your volume here, as almost all of your price action has been within this area of value. I mean, break out of here, huge fall off in volume until you get back up here and interact with this consolidation. So once you get out of here with follow through, could get a quick move through that profile up to about $290. Fast move down leads to a fast move up. Does that make sense? Fast move down, fast move up through the low volume gap, all your volumes down here. Once you finally break out here, crack these highs, and more specifically crack above these highs, I would expect a fast move into that, $290 level. And you do have technical levels up there as well. If I pull this volume profile, I can almost guarantee you the POC of that range is going to be right on that high volume node right here at about 290. Can't make it up, right? So crack out of here. Send it through that low volume gap into that high volume node. And I will actually draw that. Whoops. Key target. That's what I'd be looking at. Looking for that. Money flow looks very similar to everything else. Higher lows and higher highs. Absolute beautiful rotation through that profile. Can't make it up, guys. Cannot make it up. And then you even have a little bit of a similar to, I guess like similar to, what do you call it? Salonzo. Or, similar to, how did I pull that? Just for shizzies and giggies here. Whoops. Not too far off. Not too far off. But yeah, looks pretty good. I'll be watching that value area high. We'll see. Are we going to hit it? Come on, Quant. You could do it. You could do it. Money flow says any pullbacks could be higher lows and higher highs. That would be my expectation, but you are cooking to the upside here. Doesn't look bad, guys. Does not look bad. Like we've been saying for quite some time, the alts, the two-day money flow crossovers. The next time, guys, we get into a big money flow crossover into the red on the altcoins, just remember what happens every time we see these two-day money flow crosses over into the green. Oh, my God, this thing is dead. You get the palm, two-day money flow crossover, continuation up. Oh, my God, this thing is dead. Money flow crossover, big move up. Oh, my God, this thing is dead. Money flow crossover, big move up. And again, Cardano cracks above this value area low. Send that thing to $1 billion. I'm just kidding. $1.81 is going to be where I'm looking at. But one more last check-in on Bitcoin here, guys, before we wrap up. And, we're just pushing into that golden pocket. Not too much to update there, but as you guys know, 786 is the doorway to higher prices, in my opinion. Once you break above and hold that as support, we could potentially see new all-time highs, but until we see that, we do have to be careful of rejections here. Remember, we have that liquidity that we looked at on the heat map sitting up here as well, so SFPs are potential for a bigger pullback, and we also do have the daily money flow crossing into the red. I'm long and strong here, but that daily red dot, that daily green dot might print in 13 minutes. If it does, might be able to get that bearish divergence, which would call for a crack of the highs. Go watch the beginning of the stream. If you just tuned in, I go over all of my thoughts on Bitcoin. I just wanted to check in last minute here. Coming in, there we go. Up 24.78 on realized, 382 locked in. I'm going to keep managing this trade, guys. Not too shabby. And keep an eye out for the trade recap video that I'm going to drop, because like I said, although this trade is up about $3,000, there were mistakes made on the execution, and I want to show you guys how you can even take winning trades and still learn from mistakes you might have made to improve your trading over time. Because sometimes, even if you get stopped out of a trade, I always say this, if you get stopped out of a position, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Getting stopped out of a position is essentially like a cost of doing business in the game of trading, right? That is part of your business. I always kind of compare it to casinos. Like, do you think a casino is getting all bent out of shape because somebody hit for 10K on a slot machine? Absolutely not, right? They're just paying that one person out because they know their strategy is winning over time. They know they have the edge. They know that the percentages are tilted in their favor. So they know they're going to be profitable over the long term, right? Does trying to think of another business. Like, does a carpenter or a contractor get mad when they have to buy a bunch of wood to build something? No. Do they care if they have extra supplies at the end that they can't use? No. It's a cost of doing business. Do they care that they have to pay out their employees? No. It's a cost of doing business. For trading, getting stopped out is basically a cost of doing business. There's no way to avoid it. You have to take losses sometimes, but you could get stopped out of a position and still classify it as a good trade, right? And the way I classify that is if you stuck to your plan and use good risk management. So you could literally get stopped out of a trade. Sometimes I get stopped out, and I'm like, I'm all right with that. I mean, I had all the confirmations. I had my stop loss set at my invalidation point. I got stopped out. This one didn't play out. That's fine. But I stuck to my plan. That was still a good trade, even though I lost it, right? Same thing with good trades. You can get into a good trade, right? But if you did it through revenge, this wasn't the case in this trade, but if you were revenge trading and you happen to get lucky and make money, sure, you made money. That's great. You won the trade, but that could still be a bad trade, right? If I 100x long to degen just into a position, and this is assuming you want to be a profitable trader, like a consistently profitable trader, right? This is not like if you want to go out there and gamble and hope to hit it big, that's fine. You're very likely going to lose all your money, and that's totally okay. I have no problem with that. But if you want to actually make money over time trading, it's very important to stick to your plan. So, like, even if you're in a winning trade, if you just gambled that position, that doesn't mean it was a good trade, right? Just because you made money, sure, it's a good trade because you made, like, double your money, L trading plan, right? You're not going to be able to repeat that consistently. So if you do that, right, that's how you can have a winning trade that's kind of a bad trade. It's teaching you bad habits. It's not going to repeat itself very often. You're not going to be able to like repeat that process, right? You're just going to have to keep shooting until you get lucky. So that wasn't the specific case here, but there was some things on this execution that could have been better. So I do kind of criticize myself, even though the trade is up $3,000. But I figured if I can show you guys how I analyze even my winners and criticize them to learn these lessons to improve my trading over time, I think that can help out the Mafia, because I'm sure a lot of people are, have a lot of questions about how to enter trades. Am I doing this wrong? And it kind of just gives you a super transparent look into what I look for trades, what mistakes I made, and how you can actually criticize a trade that you even won, because there's always room to improve no matter what. And as a trader, you have to be accountable to yourself. No one's going to police you. So it's kind of a muscle that you have to build. But with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us till the end. Smash that like button on your way out. We'll see what Bitcoin does here. I'll drop a market update tomorrow if something crazy happens. If not, I'll see you on the live stream at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to try to shoot some of those altcoin price prediction videos tomorrow as well. And with all that being said, shout out to Baby Genius said, "Oh my God, squad, that was super fun." Jesse, bless you, bro. Frankie, my guy, appreciate y'all. Shout out to Baby Genius. Shout out to Skizzle. Shout out to Columbo. Shout out to Jesse, Jordan, Jennifer, Ben Sadna Music. I don't know if I said that right. Pint, Mr. B, and last but not least, Eugene Sky, and all the mods. OBS just froze again. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. It's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out.